Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller.
Good morning, everybody. Well, this is definitely a 2.0 feel. So good morning and welcome. The show's still called Miller and Moulton, but there is no more David Moulton on the show. David did his last show on Friday. For those of you that are not aware, David's health problems have gotten to the point where, just from a pain standpoint, he can't sit for 4 hours and do the show anymore. So obviously, I will keep everyone updated as things go on, as I'm allowed to, from his family. If there's news to pass along, I will pass it along. I'm hopeful that maybe David feels up to it once in a while and wants to do an hour with me. That'd be great. But if not, so be it. It is 2.0. The show's name will stay the same for now because, quite honestly, I didn't have time to rebrand everything in 48 hours. And we'll work on that. We spent 20 years building this brand, so I'm not just going to throw it away on a Monday morning, so to speak. So Trent Bally is going to help out. He's going to do 4 days a week. Tuesdays are still in flux at the moment. My son Jacob is going to do the first 5 segments. I tried to get him to do the first 6, but he can't get to work on time. And Trent, both Trent and Jake can't quit their day jobs to do this. Trent, good morning. Thank you for being able to fill in and do this. Looking forward to it. I will try not to pick on you. I will try to learn from your youth, not knock your youth, but there is a lot obviously going on in the sports world. How you doing this morning, Trent?
Well, there's a lot to knock, I'll tell you that. But no, I appreciate that, Mark. And obviously, my heart goes out to David. He's done a lot for me, just like you have. I wouldn't have had this radio gig if it weren't for you guys bringing me down there. So first and foremost, I just want to get that out there. I listened to the show Friday. I thought you guys did a fantastic job. Way to go out with a bang. But also, I'm going to be, to hell with work, I'm going to be listening to you and Jake on Tuesday. That's going to be fun. You and your son.
We'll see. He did it a couple of weeks ago. He did all right. He was a little nervous. I mean, you've done this a while, so you're not afraid of the microphone. And he went from doing a ECU podcast for 110 people to doing a radio show in 6 markets. So he was a little intimidated, but that's all right. As Adam points out in our chat room, tomorrow night, Dr. Roto and me and you and dinner at the Doubletree Hotel. You've still got time to sign up for the Fantasy Football Summit. Hell, you've got time to sign up probably right on through 5 o'clock tomorrow. I work at the hotel to make sure we can add on a couple of people, but it's a great night. You'll learn more about fantasy, even if you're an experienced fantasy player. And I've been playing fantasy for a long time. I always come out of there with knowledge, whether it's about this year's draft, whether it's about some strategies, whether it's about how to trade players mid-season. He gets through everything, and it's a good night. So sign up, millerandmoulton.com, millerandmoulton.com for the Fantasy Football Summit at the Doubletree tomorrow night, 7 p.m.
Mark, if you could think of one question, like what's one thing that you're pretty uncertain of that you want Dr. Roto's opinion on?
Oh, God.
What would that be?
Well, I'm fascinated by how, I was listening to Pat's show yesterday. Pat's like working 7 days a week right now, and we'll have Pat Wednesday and Friday this week. But Pat was at Baltimore Ravens camp, and he was talking to Minter there, the new coach. And they were talking about how the game is evolving again and how teams are changing defense and there are fewer possessions and we're scoring less points. So with that, I would love to see if that changes strategy, because it seems to me there was a time when I first started playing fantasy that you were drafting running backs and quarterbacks early.
Right away. Yeah, right away.
Now you're drafting, now receivers became in vogue to draft a little earlier. So I'm curious of how he has changed his format of drafting, probably more than anything, if he has. So
yeah, well, it does kind of depend on if you have a PPR league, like a points per reception, because obviously then receivers are a lot more valuable, and tight ends as well. I mean, you've got George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Sam Laporta, the kid from Baltimore. His name escapes me, but you know what? You get my point. It almost changes the math a little bit, and then also how many people are in your league.
Right, yeah, and that's all part of it. And he answers everything, so. It's always a good time. Always enjoy the day with Dr. Orton. We've been doing this now for, I think this is our 7th year that we've been doing this, and I think you believe Mark Andrews is who you're talking about, because he's a PPR machine. But for those of you that don't play fantasy, we won't bore you with it too much. But first, I have to ask you, I didn't watch a play. David didn't watch a play. I was yelled at on the golf course Friday by my buddy Gino from Boston, who may even do a segment with me. I'm trying to convince him, because I love the Boston perspective, and he's older and he's got the voice and everything about it's perfect. But anyhow, he was all over me for not watching the preseason game, and I didn't watch a play, didn't intend on watching a play, and fulfilled that obligation. All right. How much of the Hall of Fame game did you watch?
Not a snap.
Wow.
0. I'm locked in on baseball, Mark. You know me. I'm locked in on baseball right now. I mean, that's kind of what we're working with, kind of taking some time with the family. I just spent a few days with my grandmother. I'm not focused on football quite yet. Obviously when we get there, I'm diving in head first, but I'm not there right now.
You better start, because that's what we're talking about on this show on a regular basis. So,
which I'm okay with. I'm totally fine with that. And it wouldn't matter if I wasn't, because you call the shots.
But obviously, we are closing in on the football season. We are 19 days away from the beginning of college football. We are 30 days away from the first snap in the National Football League. But as Trent mentioned, big weekend of baseball. Obviously, we're paying more attention to the AL East than probably anything else around these parts, and that is the best division in the American League, most competitive division right now, I think, in the league.
By far.
And the Rays are on a roll. They win 6 in a row, a couple of sweeps. They've built their lead to 5.5 over the Yanks, 7 over Boston, who's actually lost 2 in a row. We'll see if they go on another run. It seemingly that's what's been going on with Boston now for over a month. But those are the 3 best teams in the American League. The AL Central is a complete grease fire. Chicago winning 2 of 3 against Cleveland. Their lead's now 3.5, but it's 3.5 over the Tigers, who are now in second place. The Twins and Guardians in fourth, and the Astros and Rangers are within a half game of each other. The division's pretty much settled in the National League, as Atlanta, Milwaukee, and the Dodgers all have comfortable leads in their divisions. The Cubs, clearly the 4th spot in the wild card. And right now, Arizona and Philadelphia tied for the final wild card spot, with the Padres just a game back. So got to update you on where that is. It is wild in that I know people in your part of the world are probably still trying to sort out what happened with Skubal. I'm curious from your perspective, because Skubal came out over the weekend and said, "Oh no, I'd love to play my whole career in Detroit, and I'd come back." That happened. What was it, Flaherty a couple of years ago? They traded him, got a good haul from the Dodgers, and then he re-signed with Detroit. So would they welcome? I mean, they'd be idiots not to welcome back Skubal with open arms. But I've never really found a fan base to not have moments of, well, self-righteousness that they feel like they've been scorned. I thought Detroit did what they had to do. I thought they waited too long and they didn't get enough for him. But at the end of the day, this was, by all accounts, the Athletic did a great account of it, the best offer. Would Detroit welcome Skubal back with open arms?
Well, I wish I could disagree for the sake of discussion because I completely agree with everything you said. They waited way too long to get a haul for him. They do have a history, like you said, with Flaherty of maybe trading a guy and then going to try to get him in the offseason. Would they welcome him back with open arms? Absolutely. The fans love him. He was probably the favorite player on the team. And you're talking about a team that has Kevin McGonigal, the young kid. Spencer Torkelson's a fan favorite.
He will be the favorite quickly, by the way.
Sure, he will, and so will Max Clark, the center fielder. Who wears the chains and got the tattoos and all that. But Tarek Skubal was probably the number one player on the team that people bought jerseys, loved him. Skubal Day. He'd only pitch every 5 days. People would go. The ballpark would be as full as it ever was this summer. So, would they welcome him back with open arms? I obviously, I hope. Is that going to happen? Probably not.
Yeah, I don't. From what I understand, and I mentioned this last week, had a friend who was with some high-powered people in Detroit a couple weeks ago. One of them has the last name of the ownership of the team, and was told what the number was that was offered to Skubal, and it was a big number. And he turned it down, and Boris, his agent, wants him to go to free agency. Curious of what they'll get, but that's for the offseason. The Dodgers, it's funny because the Dodgers with him now, they're now the third best team in the American League. They've been scuffling. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games. They had the longest losing streak they've had all year. Here are the Brewers again, who don't make a move, and they're the best team in baseball. And Mizorowski yesterday, he's the second fastest ever in innings pitched to 200 strikeouts. He's fun to watch. They didn't really make any moves. They're like, we're fine. They've got a couple of young guys that they could have traded to get Skubal and wouldn't give them up. They've got their plan. And whether or not we have baseball by Memorial Day, I don't believe that we have baseball by Memorial Day. I think that's about the day that things will get started, right around June 1. Memorial Day falls late next year. So I'm anticipating a lockout, and how that will affect a Skubal and other guys that are coming up for free agency is very interesting of what kind of contracts they're going to get, because there's obviously not labor peace in the game.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because Skubal was, rumored to be going to the Brewers at one point. I mean, they were the leader in the clubhouse, no pun intended, at one point. And I don't understand, Mark, why when you have a chance to win a championship, win a World Series, who cares about the future? What are you're not mortgaging anything. Get rid of what you need to get rid of and set yourself up for now. I don't understand why teams don't do it. And the Dodgers, just the rich get richer.
Well, the Dodgers have the best of both worlds. They have the ability to spend the most money, and, they hired the guy from the Rays. They've got the best farm system in the game. It's amazing how they do it. The Twins build their team off of their farm system. They don't have the money of others, but with what they want, if they're actually going to get some sort of a salary cap, which means a floor, you would think they would try to take on a little bit more, but they wouldn't give up the rental or wouldn't pay for the rental. Miller and Moulton, Trent Bally, help it out. Thanks for listening.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
You have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct.
The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, do you guys think Trent turns his camera off because he's got to pick his nose during a break, or what's the story there? He is, very, very private all of a sudden. Trent, did you work on that setup long there, getting your Detroit corner?
Took me about 5 minutes.
All right. This morning, or did you do it?
Oh, I did it. I did it before I just spent a few days in Hemlock with my grandma. So I did it before I left there. I think I did it Wednesday, just set it up, and then got my little table here.
Larry, I don't know. With the money that I was told that they offered him, and I have no reason not to believe it, it was $50 flipping million a year. It's not like they didn't make him an offer.
Yeah.
And you got to remember who his agent is, Larry. Like, I'd like to say that you're right, but I don't think that you are. Now, I don't think Chris Ilitch is doing the job that his old man did. There's not anything close. No. But, I mean, look, I was wrong. They hired Yzerman. I thought it was the right hire. Yzerman was awful. Awful. His signings were bad. His drafting was mediocre at best.
He overstayed his welcome too, Mark.
Well, I mean, that
Yzerman, that is.
He was going to quit. You don't.
Well, I get it, but
you don't overstay your welcome when you're getting paid. I don't know what choice. I'm sorry, it's not working out well for you fans. I'm going to quit my $3 million a year job. I mean, it doesn't work out.
That's fair.
I mean, but it didn't work. I mean, it just didn't work. And now they're hiring a damn, what do they got, a search firm for a GM? Come on. Does that just mean that Jim Nill's people turned you down in Dallas? And because I know he's not going to take it. And I do
the Detroit Red Wings have some pride.
But here's the thing. You think that matters to a free agent?
Not anymore.
No, but I don't, and I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to pick on Michigan, but where would you live if you had a choice? Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa, Las Vegas, or Detroit?
Anywhere but here. And I love this city. You know that. But anywhere but here, to answer your question.
You got to build from within. You got to do what Buffalo did. New York, there's a market there from a marketing standpoint, and they're always going to be New York, but
yeah.
My buddy and I talk about it all the time. Your dad and Kess and I talk about it all the time. We text about it like, I'm sorry, I wouldn't. We both moved from there for a reason.
Yeah.
I had a friend text me yesterday. He's getting divorced. He's got things going on. He goes, I might be getting out of this place. I'm like, don't blame you. Did it in 1992. Don't feel bad about it at all.
The only reason I'm here is because I want to work here. That's it. The city itself.
I think the city's I actually think the city's underrated. I think there's a lot. I mean, I like big cities.
It's come a long way in like 20 years.
There's cool things there now. I know that, but it's just the roads suck. Suck. Michigan roads are horrible. It's just one large pothole.
Very bad.
And then there's this little thing called the weather, which also sucks there. And it sucks pretty much year round. You got August and half of July and September. Because it can snow in June, for crying out loud.
There's always something to complain about for sure up here. I got to get used to this clock.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000.
Miller and Moulton. We haven't changed the name of the show yet, but it has definitely changed. For those of you that may have missed the show on Friday, that was David's last show. And it's not because he doesn't like me anymore. Health and cancer have done a number on the big fella. And obviously, our hearts, our prayers, our thoughts are with David. I'll do my best to give you updates of what you think is, or of what I'm allowed to say as I get it. God dang, this rejoin that's long. All right, there we go.
I like it though.
I got to work on that one. That's got to be re-edited. I went through all of the archives and I did not have any of the rejoiners. And it's like, I'm not going to put the Miller and Moulton will stay. It may stay for a long while, but I didn't want to have David's name on the rejoiners. So that's the only one I had, and I just literally cut his name off. Because if you remember, the text one was, now here's David Moulton. And so
you didn't want to have to explain every single time that you came back that,
right.
David Moulton's not here today.
But there was a time that I had 5 of these. And the guy who did the voice work, Rick Peterson, many people may know he's been in Southwest Florida where we got our start for years.
Legend.
And Rick's, I had him sent, I couldn't find it. Rick sent me a bunch of stuff, but that was the only one. I think there's one more. So I'll have 2 tomorrow and we'll get there. Baby steps, kids. Baby steps. But I'm
not going to bore the listeners with this, but I do want to shout out Mark, because the software that you use to upload this stuff, the rejoins and the music and all that stuff, it's not the easiest thing to work with. And Mark's done a great job.
I will say this, Trent, how long did you produce our show?
6 months. That's it.
And if I remember right, the only way you knew how to change out ads was to drag and drop, right? You had no idea how to go into the scheduler and do it, I guess, the proper way, if you will.
Correct. And then again, I don't want to bore the listeners, but when I came up to Michigan, we used the same software. So I did eventually learn how to do it. But when I worked for you guys, it was drag and drop.
Good. All right. That's good to know, Trent, because now I can give a little bit more work to you. All right. So we're going to talk a little college football today. Bill Bender will join us at 8 o'clock. I don't want to say a lot's happened because it's not really a lot, but they pushed the Protect College Sports Act to the next session with the Senate, which will be in September. There was a lot of thought that if they took this next recess in August, that it wasn't even going to get on the docket. It's going to be on the docket. They couldn't muster up enough votes. They got the Big Ten and the SEC to sign off on it. For the life of me, I don't know why the ACC or Big 12 are even interested in this bill, because the one part of the bill, Trent, to me, is the 5 years that you have to, if you leave a conference, you have to be an independent for 5 years to join another conference. Well, if you're Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, name it, why would you be okay with that? Because if you're in the ACC and the Big 12, obviously you're not making the same revenue that SEC and Big 10 teams are. That's part one. Part two is conferences are capped at 19. How many teams are in the Big Ten?
18, I think.
Right. Who are they leaving that opening for? Because there's only one team out there that doesn't have to wait 5 years as an independent to be able
Notre
to
Dame.
join. Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, the SEC, by signing off on this to me, Greg Sankey said, we're good with the number of teams I had. If you guys want to add Notre Dame, we're fine. Then we'll just go do our own thing. So I do want to talk to Bill about this Protects College Sports, Save College Sports Act. There's a couple other things going on in and around the college football world. He's in Big Ten country, so I'd love his take on a couple of things. We'll talk to Bill. And then we will also talk with Nick Sabato. He covers the Bills. Don't know how much of this you caught, Trent, but the Bills had their red and blue game, and they opened their brand new $2.1 billion stadium that apparently everybody hates.
Yeah, I have not heard good things about it whatsoever. I know the Lions play there week 2. I think it's on Monday. It's prime time, Monday Night Football, Sunday night. I don't know, but I'm debating going. I would like to go and check it out, Mark, because I want to see it straight from the horse's mouth if this stadium is really as bad as people. These are terrible, terrible reviews that you're getting about this place. And I don't know if it's just unpreparedness or if it's the actual infrastructure or the experience. I don't know. But I've seen the same thing, Mark.
Put it this way. The new nickel Buffalo Bill jerseys are the second least favorite thing of the Bills fans right now. The stadium's first.
The uniforms are bad. I will say that. And look, I'm not
making fun of anybody's uniform ever again. And here's why. I root for one baseball. I root for 2 baseball teams because I've liked the Rays. I'm the one guy that liked going to the Trop. Why? From where I live, it was easier for me. For you guys listening in Tampa, I understand. I've been telling everybody, if they ever get that stadium deal done and put it where they're going to put it, I think it's going to do tremendously well. I spent enough time in Tampa when I was doing my cancer thing that I kind of got an idea of what, just from a traffic flow pattern, what that city's like and how tough it is to drive it at rush hour and how anybody that lives north of the city of Tampa would not want to go to St. Pete for a baseball game Monday through Thursday. They just wouldn't, and probably even Friday. Traffic's too much of a mess. If it comes to Tampa, I think it will do much, much better. So I like the Rays, but the Tigers have always, that's my first love as a team. Michigan State and the Detroit Tigers. From my earliest memories, the first game that I went to was a Tigers game with my parents when I was very young. I was one of those kids that had a support blanket, and we left the blanket in a hotel. And the only way that my parents could get me to essentially stop sobbing at like 3-4 years old is they lied to me and told me they gave it to Al Kaline's kid. I was good. It was okay. A true story. That's a true story. So
that's a great story. I can't believe it took this long for you to tell me that story. That's awesome.
I love the Tigers, and I love the Old English D, and I love their home and road uniforms. And so I will not mock anybody's extra jersey because a team with the history that they have because of baseball had to do these stupid alternate jerseys, and the Tigers' third jersey is abominable. So I'm not making fun of that. You know what?
It's
the
awful.
Buffalo nickel jersey, you know what it's better than? The Tigers' third jersey, okay? So when you can find something worse than that third jersey Detroit wears, then I'll start knocking jerseys. But yes, Buffalo, the fans do not like the new digs. They don't like the nickel jerseys, but they don't like $2.1 billion. And I mean everybody, the media, the fans, all complain. So Nick Sabato will talk to us in the 8 o'clock hour. We may talk more about the new stadium than we do the football team.
I want to ask you, I don't know. Do you really care as a fan? Do you really care? Because I don't. I'll be honest.
What?
Like about going to a stadium that's not up to date, or I don't really care. I'm worried about the sports, what's happening on the field. So to me, it doesn't really bother me, but I understand where fans are coming from.
Well, I'm one of those weirdos, like for the Detroit teams, I don't like Comerica. I don't like the sight lines. I miss Old Tiger Stadium. I understand that it was small. I've been to Fenway, and you go and you walk from like third to first in the concourse. It's like 2 feet wide. It's amazing. But so I can take a little bit of both. But I also, because of my wife, I've been to a bunch of Steelers games. That's a brand new stadium. That is a great venue. Everything about that place is fantastic, from the restrooms to the concourses to I've sat in a couple of different places there. So I don't mean it. I kind of split the middle. But if you're going to build these new stadiums, wow.
Do it right.
Well, you don't want to have happen what happened to the Buffalo Bills in their first opportunity to show the fans the new digs, and it was universally mocked. So that's a crazy one. In the 7 o'clock hour, I'm going to bring up something that I didn't think I would ever talk about on the show. I'm dying to get Trent's take. He doesn't even know what I'm talking about right now. When we come back, we do the starting five. Next, Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Chat room, how you guys doing?
Daughter is off to 7th grade momentarily.
Oh, today's the first day of school?
For her, yep. I think most of Lee County starts tomorrow.
Wow. How are you feeling about that?
I don't care.
I knew your answer. That's why I was giggling.
I mean, I bust her chops. Like, everything changes this year.
Yeah.
Your whole life changes tomorrow morning. But this will be the last time, because she still doesn't really like boys. Like, she's right there. She can hear me. So, but this is the last this is the last time of innocence I'll ever get. By the time 8th grade starts, it'll be a totally different ball game.
By the end of the school year, you're you're up against it.
Brown chicken, I don't know. Health-wise, I don't know. I really don't. I know David wants to. But
He definitely wants to.
health-wise, David is not in good shape. He wouldn't have left this show had he not been in really rough shape. I mean, he had told me he was going to get to the start of football season not more than 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago, and he made it another 10 shows, of which he missed a couple. So, I mean, this ain't good, kids. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you guys that watch on TV, you should have been able to be aware. He'd have to go lay down every single commercial break.
Every break, yeah.
The pain is tremendous. That's what 7th grade. That's what I just said, Lori. She's in middle school. So yeah, I know. But 6th grade was still boys are icky. By the time the end of 7th grade comes, it won't be that way.
It's right around there. It's the boys realize that right around there too. So.
Oh yeah, I had my first like quote unquote girlfriend in the 7th grade.
Yeah. Mine was Shelby. Shout out. Shout out to Shelby.
I had one in 6th, but it didn't really count. I mean,
Yeah. You don't do anything. You just hang out at recess.
Right. You might, I mean, if you held hands, that would have been big. unless you guys are just these crazy adventurous souls. But
yeah, I hear you.
Good for her, Javier. Good for her. But we went to a little party on Saturday right down the road, bunch of kids, and my neighbors got twins, boy and girl, same age as my daughter, and so a bunch of his friends were there. Another guy's mutual friend of ours, guy's hysterical, and his kid is equally hysterical. He's going into 8th grade, and he just thinks he's the coolest cat in the world. It is so funny. And Maddie's like, the one with the bad hair? I'm like, yep, that's the one, Maddie.
That's par for the course for both a girl and boy of their age.
Yep, it's all about the hair to my daughter. That's all that matters. What the heck?
You hear that thunder?
I do.
Yeah, it's bad here right now.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for listening. Trent Bally doing his thing with me. He'll be with me 4 days a week going forward. Tuesdays is still a work in progress. It'll be easier when we get Pat on the regular Tuesday, Friday, but this week Pat's Wednesday, Friday. He was in Baltimore yesterday working on a Sunday. Caught a little bit of Pat's show. I was laughing. And they replay it so many times that no matter when you get in the car, apparently you hear Pat Kerwin. But Pat will join us Wednesday and Friday. Bill Bender to join us today, as well as Nick Sabato. He covers the Bills. And lots to talk about with a team that many, look at, I get any of you that say, you tell us every year they're making the Super Bowl. Can they get there before we even talk about the Bills? But obviously one of the favorites, and I'm curious, Joe Brady running the show now, what difference will that make? What's that defense like? Because they couldn't stop anybody. So
that's the big question, I think, Mark. That's the big question, seriously, because people believe in the Bills, and the reason people keep picking the Bills to make the Super Bowl is because of Josh Allen and that offense. And Joe Brady's a big question, but I think the defense is almost a bigger question because Joe Brady, it's not like he came from the outside.
Right.
He's been working there. He's been working with Josh Allen. So that to me is not as big of a question. It's that defense.
We'll get to that coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Right now, time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Well, we start with baseball, and we start with the Red Hot Rays. 4-1 over Seattle. Ian Seymour, 6 quality innings, and Tampa sweeps the Mariners. Liam Hicks had a 2-run double for the Rays. They've won 6 consecutive and 15 of their last 19. The Mariners, on the other hand, have lost 4 in a row, and they scored a total of 4 runs over that stretch. Griffin Conine hit a big home run, measured at 434 feet. In the 6th inning, or in a 6-run 5th inning, I should say, he added a solo shot later. The Marlins, 12-3 over the Angels. Kyle Stowers, who was an all-star last year, left the game in the 5th with hamstring discomfort. Something to keep an eye on there. The Marlins, 3 back in the wild card race.
How do you feel about that, Mark? Hamstring discomfort.
Well, look, in today's, if it were a basketball player, I'd be scared to death for his Achilles. I don't see a lot of Achilles injuries in baseball the way I do in hoop. But when you talk about a pitcher, and they're trying to make a run, I worry about any injury because the Marlins don't have depth. So Kyle.
I guess for a pitcher, a hamstring would be the most concerning.
Well,
not the most concerning, but a hamstring would be most concerning for a pitcher. You know what I mean?
I think, center fielder, you name it. Someone that's got to run more, but we'll see. Kyle Seeloff, who's been on the show a ton, commented on X that he was worried about the pitcher. So we'll keep an eye on that. Boston drops one 4-3 to the Athletics. Mac Muncy drove in the pinch runner with 2 out in the 9th to help the Athletics to a 4-3 victory in the rubber game of their 3-game series. Boston was able to get runners on first and second with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th, but unable to get the tying run. Jacob Wilson, 24-year-old at shortstop for the Athletics, set a record yesterday, passing Mike Bordick with his 111th consecutive errorless game at shortstop. His last error was July 6, 2025 against San Francisco. Michael Harris hit an RBI single to start the 10th, and the Braves avoid the sweep, beating the Yankees 2-1. It was the Braves' 9th win in their last 11. Matt Olson homered off of Cam Schittler in the 7th, but not a lot of hits. It was a great pitching performance by Schittler, who, other than the home run, just allowed 3 hits and 7. He struck
Hang on. Isn't there an extra L in there? Isn't it Schlittler?
Schlittler. Yeah, well, I like it the way I say it. The biggest part of the game, or the best part of the game to me, was Chris Sale got tossed before the game started.
I saw that.
On Saturday, he didn't get tossed, and he was pretty adamant in arguing a balk call. The manager got tossed. He didn't. Sale wasn't done. He went after the umpire before the game started and was tossed before Schlittler threw the first pitch. Colson Montgomery hit a 3-run home run to lift the White Sox to a 5-3 victory over Cleveland. Brenton Doyle was 2 for 5, and Murakami added an RBI double in the rubber match for the White Sox. Jose Ramirez, 2 hits and drove in a run for Cleveland. Chicago came alive after 2-hour and 23-minute rain delay that followed the first inning. Neither pitcher came back of that. Cleveland is now in 4th place, or 3rd place, tied for 3rd, 4 back in the AL Central. Washington, a 7-1 win over Cincinnati. Ooh, this is a tough one for me. Abimelec Ortiz. That was, I was worried about that all day.
Sounds good to me, Mark.
2 hits and a home run, 4 pitchers, a 4-hitter as the Nats swept the Reds. Mets 11-1 over Pittsburgh. Bo Bichette had 5 hits, 3 RBIs as the Mets win the series over Pittsburgh. Bichette's bases clearing double broke the game open to give the Mets their 5th win in their past 6 games.
That's for you, David.
Philadelphia. I don't know if he cares about the Mets right now. I got to be honest with you.
He just won a championship with the Knicks. He's good.
No, he's not. It's one of the things he talked about Friday. He's like, is 86 going to be my last one that I see?
Is that all I get? Yeah. He goes, when I go through the pearly gates, I got some questions for the sports guys.
And there'll be some other fans in front of you in line. Philadelphia in the 12th. Derek Hill hit a walk-off single. That defeats the Blue Jays 7-6, so they avoid the 3-game sweep. Kyle Schwarber hit 2 home runs, including a 3-run homer along with a solo shot. Toronto tied the game with a 3-run 8th, took the lead in the 12th, but 2 from Philadelphia getting the win for the Phillies. The Tigers, Hao-Yu Lee did it. With a 2-run, he had pinch hit RBI single and a 2-run 10th for Detroit. As the Tigers have a very solid West Coast swing, they win 7 of 9, going to Sacramento, Seattle, and San Francisco. Spencer Torkelson also had a hit in extra innings. They won for just the 4th time in 11 extra inning games this season. The Tigers are 1 game back from Texas for the final wild card spot and 3.5 as they're now in 2nd place in the division.
They're going to make the playoffs. I'll tell you right now. They found something. They did. They got this young core. They're going to do something. They are.
You know what they found?
I don't know if they're going to win anything, but they're going to make the playoffs.
They found the Athletics, they found Seattle, and they found San Francisco. Those teams aren't really knocking the socks off it. I'll tell you what, Trent, when the weekend series starts on Friday, let's see where they at, because they're off today, and tomorrow they start 3 with Cleveland. And Cleveland seemingly has their number. Yep. So if they could take 2 or 3 from the Guardians, I'm on your side. But let's see what they do in that series.
I'm going to hold you to that, but go ahead.
Milwaukee, a 4-3 win over Minnesota. Jake Bauers walk-off single in the bottom of the 10th to give the Brewers the win. Great play at the plate, but the Brewers safe, and they win the rubber match of the series. Cubbies, 10-2 over Kansas City. Matthew Boyd threw 7 stellar innings as the Cubs blow past the Royals. They're 5.5 back in Milwaukee. St. Louis, a 7-4 win over Colorado. J.J. Weatherholt had a 2-run double with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. The rookie keyed the victory for the Cardinals against Colorado. He had 2 hits on the game, 2 walks, and 2 runs, who won for the 5th time in 7th games, and they're back to 500, 3.5 back of the wild card. Pete Alonso, a pair of 2-run home runs, along with 3 hits total, as the Orioles topped the Rangers 10-5 to avoid a sweep. Texas, 1 of 8 with runners in scoring position, had its 4-game winning streak snapped. Arizona wins the series against the Dodgers. They win 4-2. Marte home run. Eduardo Rodriguez struck out a season-high 9, and the Diamondbacks actually clinched the season series with the Dodgers. Now, I don't think they can catch the Dodgers, but the fact that they actually beat them is something to pay attention to. Rodriguez is 11-4. He threw 115 pitches. See, it can be done. He's 2-0 with a 1.88 earned run average against the Dodgers this season. He struck out Teoscar Hernandez 3 times and Shohei twice, for what it's worth. And then the night game last night, San Diego pounded Houston 7-2. Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis Jr., Gavin Sheets, and Austin Hayes all homered as the Padres won the rubber match between a couple of playoff contenders. The Padres they're a game behind Arizona and Philadelphia, who are tied for the final 2 wild card spots. All right, to the NFL we go. We start in Washington, where Laramie Tunsil suffered a torn tricep in practice. It's going to require surgery. He's going to miss a significant portion of the regular season. He's a top tackle in the league, and that's the guy.
That's a big loss. That's a big loss.
You're damn right. It really is. The Saints lost a guard. Dylan Raduns is out for the season, torn ACL. Second player to tear an ACL in the cap is Ryan Bressie, also tore his ACL at the start of camp. The Lions, they're looking for a backup because Teddy Bridgewater is retiring again. Dan Campbell said they're going to find a veteran. I don't know who they're going to find. I know who.
What is this? Teddy Bridgewater's third-time retirement, I think, Mark?
Is it 2 or 3? I think it's 2, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
One guy they're not going to sign is Kyle Trask because he signed as the third quarterback with Carolina after Haynes King hurt his hamstring in the Hall of Fame game.
Yikes.
Finally, in pro football, New England. Artificial turf that they laid down at Gillette after they removed the grass for the World Cup was deemed non-compliant, and the team's got to get new turf before they host a preseason game. College football. The Protect College Sports Act failed to reach a vote during an all-night pre-recess session in the Senate. They are going to put it back on the docket next month, according to Majority Leader John Thune. PGA, the Wyndham Championship. Michael Brennan made 5 straight birdies to pull away from Beau Hosler, finished with a 64. The 24-year-old, a winner, a great moment. His mother on the green celebrating with him, and she says, "We're going to the Masters."
That was cool.
That's when it dawned on him that they're going to the Masters. Other news from that tournament, Jackson Koiven, the young stud who's played in 6 tournaments. He's qualified for the FedEx Cup playoffs. The 6 starts are the second fewest by any player to appear in the playoffs since its inception in 2007. Only Tiger Woods with 5 starts has ever advanced. Other tour news, the PGA Tour confirmed that the FedEx St. Jude, the leadoff postseason event since 2022, will not be a part of the top-tier championship series in 2028. That's fascinating because FedEx is headquartered in Memphis. It is the FedEx Cup, after all. What will happen there? Live, Joaquin Niemann won in New York. Tennis, Jannik Sinner's withdrawn from the Cincinnati Open with a right knee injury. He's going to miss both the tune-ups heading into the U.S. Open. He skipped the Canadian Open, which went on this week in Montreal. And finally, to the NBA. Don Nelson, the second winningest coach in NBA history, 5-time champion as a player, member of the Hall of Fame. He died at the age of 86. 31 seasons as an NBA head coach with the Bucks, Warriors, Knicks, and Mavs. He had the most coaching wins ever when he retired. Greg Popovich broke that record 4 years ago. Don Nelson, an absolute character, great coach, and obviously won championships as a player, died at the age of 86. And at 7 minutes before the hour, Trent, that was the starting 5. 5 big stories and a live golf result that you didn't need to know here on Miller and Moulton. I actually had a little bit of video that I forgot to queue up for the starting 5. I will play both the clip from the PGA Tour. You can hear Brennan's mom and one famous one from Don Nelson that we'll have at one point in the show as well. Bill Bender will join us in a little over an hour's time to talk college football, and Nick Sabato to talk about the Bills coming up in the 8 o'clock hour as well. The Pelican Roofing of Florida text line open at 21,000. Miller and Moulton.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton Moulton.com. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, that probably won't be for long, Happy, because that's all got to change. I mean, it just that's part of all of the imaging that has to be redone. But I'm going to have Trent do a couple. I may even have Seth do one, because I can't be on all of them, because that's not fair to the advertiser.
Mark, do you like Metallica?
I know this is a bad thing to say, but I'm fine with Metallica. I don't dislike Metallica, but I wouldn't pay money to go see them in concert. If that makes sense.
Okay.
There's songs that I like. I actually like the early stuff probably better when they were a little more thrashy. But I'm a bit of a softie. They're a little too hard for. I mean, like I'm not into hard rock. That just doesn't.
I got you.
Not my cup of tea. I'm a bit of a wimp, you know. Give me my.
Well, I'm just curious because
Give me my Gailey singers like Michael Stipe and Morrissey, and I'm a lot happier. Two of my favorite bands. Literally, I mean, you know, I'm not. Doesn't mean I like what they stand for, any of that, but I like I can separate. I can separate really easily. What are we? National S'mores Day.
Oh, there you go. I didn't even think about that poll question. Is that what you're saying?
I'm trying to find.
Or you're just looking for inspo?
I'm trying to find something. That's kind of where I am, Clark. I don't think, in fact, I'm positive. I have, let's see, how many songs do I have downloaded? I use Apple Music.
I'd set the over-under at 4.5.
Oh, no, I don't have not a. I think
Not a single one?
Not one single song.
Jeez.
I've got thousands of songs downloaded.
Not one Metallica song.
Not one. Not one. I think you guys might be on. I like that question, Javier and Baby Jules. I do. See if I can do it in 50 seconds.
Oh, that's good.
Using your, Javier, you're the chef. I'm using your
terminology.
Yep. Kind of a common. I'm gonna use a little combination of baby Jules because I like the toasted, but I also like brown, so people know.
Yeah, RCB.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller.
Yep, that's me. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Trent Valley in the co-pilot seat with me. He'll be here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, still kind of a work in progress. We'll figure it out as we go. When we get to football, it'll be a little bit easier. Once Pat gets done with his training camp run, and Pat will be on Tuesdays, obviously, in the 8 o'clock hour, it'll be a little easier. But we will get there. We will get there. So for those of you who might just be joining the show, we know people pop in and out and don't listen every day. David's last show was Friday, and it's not because he doesn't like me anymore. It is health. David spoke about it a couple of weeks ago. His cancer is back, and unfortunately, it has been very aggressive. David was in a tremendous amount of pain, and I don't even think our listeners knew, even the ones that were watching, understand just how much pain David has been in recently, and he just couldn't go on. And so
we know he loves sports and we know he loves to talk, so he would be doing this if he could. But quite frankly, under the worst of circumstances, he just can't do it anymore. And that's okay. We love him.
A lot of you have asked, is he doing Monday Night Football? I don't know the answer to that. I know that he wants to more than anything in the world.
He will if he can.
And that's what I don't know. I'm not going to make a bet. But I've got to be honest, I wouldn't, the odds are long. That's all I would say. So that being said, our thoughts, our prayers are with he and his family, and whatever I'm allowed to tell you going forward, I will. So that's that. All right. Before we get to what I want to talk to with Trent, and I may still wait, we may need more time. We'll see. But I always look for a poll question. We always look for what's going on. And sometimes it's sports and you guys don't care. And sometimes it's food and you seem to care a lot more. But today is National S'mores Day. My wife loves s'mores. It's literally her favorite thing. I may have to get all the ingredients so that she can have some tonight. But how do you like your marshmallows? Raw, toasted, or torched? And, toasted is brown, torched is black. Obviously, raw, you should be able to figure that out. But that's our poll question. It's up at Miller_Moulton on X. I will repost it here momentarily. And if you're in the Twitch chat room, you can just vote with a number, whether it's Twitch or YouTube. You can vote instantly and do it that way. Trent, first off, I know you were up at, I believe, Houghton Lake in Michigan. not too long ago with family. I know you had a little family, like a family reunion. You guys do a lot of that stuff, which is awesome, by the way. And there's no place. I will put Northern Michigan in the summer next to any place on this earth as far as a great place to be. You guys can have the southern part of the state. You give me anything, get about 20 minutes north of Midland, and you're in pretty good shape no matter where you are. That's what Michiganders call up north. It's only about 30,000 square miles. It's all referred to as the same place. So when you were up north this summer, Trent, were s'mores made? I know there had to be a bonfire with beers, but
Yes.
were s'mores on the docket? So if you had a s'more this summer,
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah. I'm glad you asked. I didn't want to cut you off there, but my answer to this question would be all the above. I don't care. I like marshmallows, period. So I'll have it raw. I'll eat marshmallows like candy. But I'll also, if I'm going to roast it, I probably I'm a number 2 person, I would say, like brownish, almost orange on the edges.
yeah, I'm very much a brown guy. There's an art form to this. Don't start getting on me. The thing cannot catch fire. You've got to find the area of the coals that have that right temperature so you can work that marshmallow and get it melty and get it brown. Once that thing gets flame, if you don't blow it out within a second, you're going to struggle. I'm just telling you.
It's like a rotisserie chicken, You got to make sure that you toast it evenly on all the sides and everything. So there is an art to it. I got you, but I'm just saying I like marshmallows regardless. So I'm not picky about them.
National S'mores Day. How do you like your marshmallow? That's our poll question. I mean, we are really hitting hard-hitting questions today on the show. Trent Balley will be doing Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like I said, Tuesday's a work in progress. A reminder that the Fantasy Football Summit, there are obviously still tickets available. It is tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, the Doubletree Hotel in Fort Myers in the Bell Tower Shops. Same place Shoeless Joe's is. They have a room for us behind. It's always a good night. Dr. Roto on hand. You'll get his cheat sheet. You'll get dinner. You'll get conversation, and we will talk football for a couple hours tomorrow night. 7 p.m. Sign up, MillerandMoulton.com.
I got a question for you, Mark Miller. What position do you think is the most questionable as far as like what the top 1 or 2 is? You know what I mean? Because I think most people would say that at quarterback you take Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, maybe Lamar Jackson if he's going to be healthy, and then, there's a tier below. Like, what position would you say is the most questionable for you as far as like who's at the top?
For
fantasy, because this is different, right?
Yeah, I don't know if people want my fantasy opinions, but I'll give them to you. I mean, I think I know a lot of people like Gibbs. I think Bijan Robinson's the best running back. And then after that, I think it peters out because I don't know how much, I know the way the Lions have run their offense. I don't think they want Gibbs to have 30 touches a game. So I think at the running back position, you have Bijan Robinson, but what's Genty going to be like this year? That line's better. So I am.
Well, it's a bad team too. It reminds me of Chris Johnson, God bless him, with the Tennessee Titans back in the day. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of like that. That's why I ask for fantasy purposes, because that's different than teams winning games. Who's the best running back on maybe a bad team?
I don't trust rookies. Genty last year, I ended up having him on my team. I got him later in the draft. I don't mind where I picked him. No, it's not because of that. It was funny because Roto was all over him too, and he even said it when he was on the show. He's like, sometimes I'm early, and he was. I think he's going to be fine this year. But that line was terrible. So, but I don't. You look at Ibuka, who had a really great start to the year in Tampa. Well, then all of a sudden, Evans gets hurt, Godwin's hurt, and he's the one. Well, he wasn't ready for that. So as I'm listening to, I'm listening to a lot of Pat's training camp stuff, listen to some other people from camp. And when I hear that rookies are doing well, one, how long can they do well for? And what, I worry about rookies and their production because just being a pro football player is hard. They're used to most of these guys. And we all know this, but most of these guys that are playing, they were obviously their best high school player on their team.
Yeah, you're saying the
one of
adjustment from college to
yeah,
pro.
they were one of the 3 or 4 best on their collegiate team. And now they go to the pros and they're all like that. So
Yeah.
whether it's a receiver, you can get to me in college, you can get mismatches. There aren't a ton of great corners and D-backs out there to stop elite receivers on Saturday. On Sunday, these guys are all good. But I will flip it from the standpoint of football. And since you love, and we're not going to do the NFC North until next week. We're going to do the NFC. My plan is to do the NFC East. This is our last AFC East team today. Tomorrow we will start jumping into the NFC East, NFC North, and AFC North to follow. And then the only West teams that we will probably do is Kansas City, because it's just from a time standpoint, everybody else is 2 hours behind. So unless someone wants to get up really early, or unless we tape something, it makes it difficult. I might get JP to tape something with us now that he's the voice of the Arizona Cardinals and get a little preview there, but it's difficult to get, Denver. It's difficult to get the California teams in Seattle and things like that. So we'll see what we do as far as the Western divisions. But I know that you bleed everything Detroit, and they're the greatest and they're always going to win. I'm going to try, while I work with you, to get you off of that perspective and think a little more macro.
I'm trying to temper it a little bit, Mark. I'm trying.
The micro thought and the myopic thought about your team being the best. But with that being said, take the Lions out of the equation. Who's the team that scares you in the North the most?
Oh, the Bears. It has to be. I mean, just because of Caleb Williams, I don't even know if he necessarily had a great year last year. I mean, the Bears, what's the stat? They still haven't had a 3,000-yard passer or something like that. The point is, he's ascending. So if you're projecting where he's going to be, he's going to take another step this next season, and that is why the Bears would scare me the most. But I mean, the Packers are just the big bad. They're Michael Myers in this division, and the Vikings, I don't know. Well, J.J. McCarthy and Kyler Murray.
Well, Kyler Murray's J.J. McCarthy, that guy's going to be out of the league in a year.
Well, but he's projected. They want him to be the guy. So, and I agree with you. But
are you sure? Because that GM's gone. No, and I'm being serious here for a second. I don't think O'Connell wanted him. And now I think he'll be the third string quarterback when they start.
Well, that's a good question, because you're right. The GM who picked him so high in the top 10 is now gone. So there's no incentive for them to necessarily keep him around.
Right. So,
but I don't know if Kyler Murray's necessarily a better option. You know what I mean?
Well, put it this way. This guy can coach quarterbacks. To me, they're the team. I'm with you, because I picked the Bears to win the division. I mean, all the teams had winning records. So I think Green Bay's obviously viable. I didn't love their offseason. But if Kyler Murray is a top 16 quarterback in the league. No. I mean, if he is literally 16th, okay? If he is right in the top 50% of quarterbacks in the league, who's stopping that team?
The Lions.
No, defensively, they can't stop a quarterback.
Yes, they are. They'll outscore them.
In state defensively. This is the worst defense in the division every damn year. The Vikings, with those receivers, with that tight end, with that running back, if Kyler Murray can play average, I'm telling you that could be a playoff team.
And I got you. You can say worst division or worst defense in the division, but guess what? The division also had a 9-8 team finish in fourth last year.
No,
so that's the game.
Anybody ever notice that if you take any shot at one of his teams, he gets mad quickly?
I don't get mad. I just get defensive.
Well, it's kind of the same thing. You're getting defensive. We're just talking sports, Trent. When we come back, we are 30 days away from the start of the NFL season. There are a lot of great number 30s. We'll talk about those next. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Clark, I'm aware people pop in and out, but I've said it a few times now. No, we don't have Pat tomorrow. We will have Pat Wednesday and Friday this week. Man, this kid, you get defensive. You get defensive. Wow.
Well, I'm not trying to piss you off. I hope I'm not.
No, your face changes, your tone changes.
Do you think I'm wrong? I mean, seriously. You said who's beating the Vikings? I said the Lions.
I said who's stopping the Vikings? You didn't even hear me. That's the thing. You go blank and don't even hear me. What I said was, who's going to stop if Kyler Murray can play at all?
Yeah.
Offensively, there's not a good defense in that division. I don't think the Bears defense is very good. I don't think the Packers defense is very good. And I think the Lions defense is bad. Their corners are awful. I mean, Jesus, they got a guy that got arrested that they kicked off.
No, I agree with you. They have no back end of that.
And I said this to Pat on Friday because he was in Detroit. I get it. You guys all love Hutch. I mean, he's the perfect guy to love. He's from Michigan. There's a few other reasons people in Michigan like him because he's a white guy. And he doesn't sack the quarterback enough. He gets back there all the time. But he doesn't. I don't think he's elite. I think he's very good, but I don't think he's an elite edge rusher.
I would agree with you, but I guess I would ask you, like, how many elite edge rushers are there? I think there's only like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many.
So I think he's right in that. He's in a tier below. He's not,
he's a tier, like if we talk, you're so
Myles
funny.
Garrett.
But he's not Max Crosby. He's not a Watt. You know what I mean? He said should have kept hands alone. He knows how to get me.
No.
Yeah, the backstop for the Tampa.
Devin White, that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade, baby. Devin White, he's a Lion.
I think their defense in their secondary has been their problem for the last 3 years.
No, I got you. I'm not delusional about that. Yeah.
How does Kyler Murray can now run around, so he's tougher to sack. He ends up getting a little more time against a team like Detroit. He will pick them apart.
I guess
doesn't mean Detroit can't beat him. Doesn't mean Detroit can't beat him 42-38.
I got you, but you said who's stopping them, and I think the Lions can stop them because I think the Lions can outscore them and beat them. The Lions just beat Caleb Williams twice last year.
Not what I asked. I did not say who can beat them, and you're saying stop them by outscoring them.
That's a way of stopping them.
No, that's not. That's outscoring them. Defensively in the division, who can slow that team down if he can play? I'll phrase it a different way for you.
The Lions secondary is bad. Bad. I can admit that. I just have faith in the team in the long run because I know they can
you do.
score points.
I know you do.
They can score points.
We'll see. Offensive line, completely different.
Yeah. Is that Frank walking around?
Frank's been dead for years. That was the printer.
I knew Frank. Sorry.
Let's see. Frank's right here.
I thought I heard a dog walking. That's essentially what I'm asking.
You want to see Frank? Here he is. There's Frank. Right next to my dad.
I don't mean to laugh, but
I've got more ashes in this room than I need.
I know you don't care. That's the only reason I'm laughing.
No, I don't.
So are we doing 30s here?
We are doing 30s here.
Okay.
It's a good point, Clark. More ashes in this room than there is at the cigar bar during happy hour.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is open, 21,000. The number. For those of you just joining us, Trent filling in. He'll be in here a lot. He'll be here every day but Tuesday. He's very important on Tuesday. That's an executive day for Trent. So he will be at his other job on Tuesdays. His bosses were kind enough to let him start a little later the rest of the week. So he will be helping out 4 days a week, kind of working on Tuesday. It's a work in progress right now. Be a lot of me trying to work on a few guests to be permanent. We'll see what happens there. But David's last show was on Friday. In case you've missed it and you're just joining us, I'll probably mention it a few times this week, and I'll mention it coming out of probably every break today. So for those of you that are with us for all 4 hours, thank you. We appreciate it. For those of you jumping in and out, David's last show was Friday, health reasons. David's cancer is back. It's aggressive, and he's in a lot of pain, and he needs to worry about David. So that's basically the thing there. But we've been doing this for a while. In fact, Trent and I started it when David had to miss a couple of weeks because of health reasons. I was doing the countdown of days, and we are 30. The magic numbers are 19 and 30. So we're doing the pro number, the 30, and the best 30s of all time. And I would say this might be the one day that hockey has the best players at the number.
Really?
I think so. Now, I think the best 30 comes from the NBA, and I don't think it's close.
Yes.
But there are some good baseball players, so we'll start there. Got to go old school and go Maury Wills and Orlando Zapata. They both played from the 50s until the early 70s. I wouldn't expect you to know them, Trent. One for me that I threw on the list only because I love him is UL Washington. Longtime Kansas City Royal, played with the toothpick in his mouth. Was fantastic.
Yeah, I've actually heard of him. Wasn't his swing kind of funny? Or
I don't remember a quirkiness about a swing because they all had much more individual swings then. It is a
okay. Well, I know I've heard of UL Washington, so I thought maybe it was because of the swing. Because my dad at Christmas time, Mark, you know my dad, he would pick up the Christmas wrapping paper and imitate people's swings. And I think UL Washington was on the list.
So Nolan Ryan wore it for his Mets and Angels from 68 to 79. Willie Randolph wore 30 with the Yanks. Tim Raines, unbelievably great player. Dennis Martinez threw the perfect game. Ken Griffey Sr. wore it his whole career. Junior wore it when he played for the Reds. And for you Trent Maglio-Ordonez.
There we go. Walk-off home run in the ALCS. 2006.
All right. We'll do football last because we always do, because after all, this is a football thing. But in hockey, these are the guys that aren't great that are on the list. Cam Ward, goalie with Carolina. Tim Thomas, who's from our neck of the woods, Trent, played with Boston, won a cup there. Bill Ranford played with a couple of teams, helped win a cup in Edmonton. Chris Osgood helped Detroit win a couple. Mike Vernon, he's a Hall of Famer. He wore it in Calgary. Rogie Vachon played with the Kings in the 70s. Terrific goaltender. Henrik Lundqvist for the Rangers wore 30. Eddie Belfour also played in my hometown as minor league hockey, played in Saginaw. Really good ping pong player from what I understand, but made his hay in Chicago, obviously. Jerry Cheevers, who had the great mask, the stitches, back when they wore the old school mask. I don't know if anybody had a better mask than Cheevers. One of the all-time great masks, but probably, I don't even think probably, the best 30 of all time in the game of hockey, Martin Brodeur from the Devils. In hoop, I'll give you the ones that don't matter before I'll let Trent go for who the best 30 is. And really the most important player of his generation did more to change the game than any other player of his generation, including the guy you love so much. But I'll start with ML Carr. Loved me some ML Carr. Bernard King might be my favorite 30 on this list. It's close between the guy I'll let Trent talk about, but Bernard King was one of the purest scorers I ever saw play. George McGinnis wore 30. Terry Porter wore 30 with the Trailblazers. Tree Rollins was number 30, and I love me some Tree. Kenny the Jet Smith. Rasheed wore it. He wore it for 2 years in Detroit, but he wore it his whole time in Portland.
And then he switched his number from 30 to 36. I don't know why, but yeah.
Correct. And then, well, a couple of Currys. Dell wore it, and then this guy Steph wore it.
The second greatest point guard of all time, Steph Curry. Absolutely. And you're exactly right, Mark. And I'm not somebody who grew up like rooting for those Warriors teams, or, you know, because I was always on the other side because they were always playing LeBron because he got to the finals every year.
Right,
so I was yes, because in large part because of Steph Curry. So Steph, to me, when we said the best 30s ever, I mean, that's exactly where my mind went. I'll always say Magic Johnson's the best point guard of all time, not because he's a Michigan State guy, but because he's a true point guard as far as like passing the ball. And I know he was 6'9" and everything, but it's going to be really tough for me to dethrone Magic as the greatest. But I think Steph's the number 2 point guard of all time, and he wore number 30.
But in his generation, he changed the game more than LeBron, and it's not close.
No, he did. You're right.
Not have, and it's an interesting debate. If you wanted to talk hoop, was it for the better of the game, or did it bring the game down? Because now everybody's chucking threes in ways we've never seen before. He was just the best at it.
Well, I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's definitely the reason that a lot of people now hate the game. You know, a lot of people now hate that league because it's all chucking threes. You're exactly right. I don't know if that's for better or worse, but it's a worse product to watch. I think that's undeniable. You know, I'd rather see guys bang and, you know, guys, you know, actually like work to get a basket.
Watch the Heat this year, because that's how they're going to have to play.
Yeah, they don't have any shooters.
From a football standpoint, there's not a lot of great 30s. The best 30's the guy from the Broncos. He's in the Hall of Fame, Terrell Davis. Short run, won a Super Bowl, was a Super Bowl MVP, was a 2-time Offensive Player of the Year. But Terrell Davis, Amon Green from the Packers was a 30. Lawrence McCutcheon played for the Rams, was a 30. Mark Van Egan, back in the day with the Raiders, was a 30. But I was surprised in going through this how few great NFL players there were that wore 30.
Yeah, Mark, so I don't look this stuff up. I try to just think off the top of my head. I could not think of a single, and I'm talking, you know, I'm only 26 years old, so I'm talking about like since basically 2000, I can't remember a 30. I don't remember Terrell Davis. I knew that he wore that number, but I couldn't come up with anything.
I thought you might have some Spartan Hooper for me today, but I didn't know where you were going to go with this. But we're 30 days away from the start of the NFL season, 19 from the start of the college season, and that there's not a lot of great games. I think North Carolina plays TCU that week, might be the best thing out there, and North Carolina obviously, they get attention. Don't know if you caught Vintieri's comments. I mean, he gave a long speech at the Hall of Fame speech. Threw two, shots, not jabs, threw two right crosses, one at McAfee, and which he said the only guy that liked to hold my balls more than my wife, which was a great line.
That's
And
terrible.
then he complimented Belichick up and down and finally said that Bill couldn't be here. I don't know if he's recruiting or doing this or if he is a judge at his girlfriend's cheerleading competition.
I saw that. That was
And
great.
People are bent out of shape that he took a shot there and made jokes. Hey, you make the Hall of Fame. I don't know what to tell you. You're allowed to say whatever you want. And I guess it was, of the Hall of Fame, Roger Craig announcing that he had dementia, and that was very sad that his speech was taped, which was, awful news to hear.
Yeah.
I even played some of Larry Fitzgerald's speech to my daughter, because what he said at the end to his sons to me is important. Surround yourself with people who tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I thought he honored his father, his late father, very well with those comments. We're going to go in a direction that I never intended in going in my life. That's next, Miller and Moulton.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
DC, Magic is not a true point guard. Please explain. Please explain. That one I have issues with. If you want to say he's not the best point guard, I'll listen to your argument. But to say Magic's not a true point guard, he was a pass-first guard. He was big. He revolutionized the position, but not a true point guard? Isaiah shot way more than he did.
Yeah, I don't think
Isaiah was more of a score-first point guard than Magic. You want to say Stockton? Okay, he had more assists. I mean, he and Malone were great.
I don't think there's any debate over, the only reason Magic retired so early was because he got AIDS, unfortunately. Magic could have played another 5 years at a high level. I mean, he was going until, the dream.
No, but I'm not. But DC said he was not a true point guard. We're not talking about his talent. I'm trying to get his explanation on why he wasn't a true point guard.
Yeah, sorry, I got to pull up the chat room here.
You don't have to. You can.
Well, I should just make errant comments. I don't know if there's any more. Like, I think the greatest shooting guard ever is obviously Michael Jordan. The greatest point guard ever, I think, is Magic Johnson. All the others are debatable.
No, the greatest player is Michael Jordan. Just start and stop there.
Oh, I'm going by position. I'm trying to be.
I keep sending you more and more ammo.
I know.
And I don't even have to do the work anymore. People are doing it for me.
Mark rage baits me every day. He'll send me a video of someone crapping all over LeBron.
I send it to he and Felipe. Every one I get.
Yeah, he does. And Ambient,
longevity does not make you the greatest player, Ambient.
It's part of it.
Go watch the All-Star game when he turned into a big, gigantic, I can't say the word, against Kobe. Wouldn't even play one-on-one against Kobe because he's so soft. Go look at all the flopping he's done. He's pathetic. He's a pathetic person, and he's not the best basketball player.
Right, and Michael Jordan only played 6 years and won 6 championships, and that's all he ever did. Like, what are we talking about?
No. He was the leading scorer far more times than LeBron. He was the defensive player of the year. He was all defense quite a few number of times. And LeBron had to go get better supporting cast to win his titles, even though he'd still lose.
That's the league.
And
it is now.
Well, you could say Boston started that with but LeBron.
They did. No, I got you, Mark. I got it. I know all the criticisms about LeBron, like, they're all fair. I got it. But I think Boston started that in 2008, and then LeBron took it and ran. And honestly, he's done it better than anyone else has. What has Kevin Durant done by chasing rings? Guess he won 2 in Golden State.
LeBron's the best ring chaser?
Sure. What's wrong with that? I know what you mean, though. If you call yourself the GOAT, you're not? I don't know. I disagree. Confidence.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for listening. Trent Bally, going to be with me now 4 days a week going forward. Tuesdays we'll figure out as we go. Still got some things to adjust to. It'll be a lot of solo. I'm actually playing the nepotism card, and my son's going to do 5 segments with me. He won't even give me 6, though. He's got to get to work on time. And
what is Jake's strong suit as far as, like, I know college hoop or college football.
College football. Football. I mean, and he, baseball a little bit in the NFL. He's working on. He knows enough because he follows college so closely, and he loves the SEC. So that's the league that produces the most NFL players. So it's not too difficult to transition. Because I mean, that's the league that every year sends the most guys to the NFL. It ain't close.
So is he a Georgia fan?
Oh yeah, that's where his mom went to school. His great uncle played there in the early 70s, so that's a whole family thing. And it's
Okay.
I grew up going to Michigan State games with my whole family. My grandfather was a season ticket holder, and it was a big deal to go on Saturdays, and we had a bunch of season tickets and tailgating in the best lot and all that stuff. I did that with my now obviously ex-wife, and going to the tailgates with them it was always just a spectacular time. And
Yeah.
I love Athens. Athens is great. There's still a bunch more stadiums I want to get to in the SEC because I've not been to Jordan-Hare. I've not been to Tuscaloosa. Was lucky enough to see an LSU game. But I need to get to a subject that I'm very curious your take on, because I have no idea. I've never asked you about this before. And we've not talked a lot about it because I don't follow the league. But there's one league making headlines for all the wrong reasons, in my opinion, lately. And that's the good old WNBA.
I knew what you were going to say as soon as you said that.
But you are a hoop fan first. The NBA is your favorite league. The Lions, I think, are your favorite team. But as a league, you talked about it when you were producing. Like you go back, like, how David had the ability to go back with any sport 50 years. I think you can go back. I could probably ask you damn near any championship series this century, and you're going to be able to tell me who played in it. You've got this stuff memorized. You love the NBA. That's a fair statement, right?
Yep.
Okay. Do you watch the WNBA?
No. I follow it. I do. I see it on social media because of just the pages I follow and stuff. Like, I keep up with it, but I don't necessarily sit down and watch a WNBA game. You know what I mean?
Right. So I don't want to I'm not going to be, I think I know most of our audience's opinion on this. I do. And for the most part, I probably agree with you at least 90%. So obviously over the weekend, Sophie Cunningham was clotheslined, and Dejana, and I can't think of her last name right now because anyhow, she's thrown out of the game. And after the game, she didn't like the fact that she was thrown out, and she tweeted out white privilege. Carrington, Dejana Carrington is the player's name. Sorry, I had to get that. So Carrington tweeted out white privilege. She's doubled down on it since. And I don't want to get into that part of this because that gets me to an area that we've never really gone with this show. But how much of the clips of the Indiana coach have you seen? Because this is the part of this that if it were another sport, another league, it seems that the coach of the Indiana Fever goes out of her way to not defend her own players. Don't know if you saw the press conference in which Caitlin Clark is basically putting her hands over her face after the coach of the Fever is defending the foul.
Yeah. Well, if I can zoom out for a second, I think this is a more it's a big issue because that league can't stay out of its way. It can't stay out of its own way. I mean, everything that falls into their lap, they just want to, get rid of it. And it's like Caitlin Clark is one of those people. You can talk about how she might not be the best player in the league and stuff. She's also your golden goose. She's the only reason certain people are watching. Are people tuning in to watch Asia Wilson? Not as much, So I think, Mark, you're onto something there where it's the coach of the golden goose and Caitlin Clark can't stay out of their own way. And that, I think, is what, more than anything, that's what pisses me off. Well, and that's also why I don't get into the league as much, to be honest.
The commissioner obviously has said that we're bigger than Caitlin Clark and has kind of
and they're not
from Caitlin Clark, which to me is foolish. We've made the comment before. Would David Stern have done this? And, one of the things I actually disagreed with David on, and I'm not doing it because he's not here, is that David said, well, Michael never dealt with this. Actually, Michael did. Because Michael, like Larry and Magic started it, but Michael took the league to a whole new level.
Yeah.
Michael got the crap kicked out of him. He went in the weight room and got tougher. The league was incredibly physical.
Oh, it's on tape. It's on tape. I mean, him being in the weight room,
right,
doing bench presses.
The physicality of the league was top to bottom. So Jordan wasn't treated any differently. And I think that's the point that David could have made a touch better, is that Jordan wasn't treated any differently than any other player. Caitlin Clark is fouled far more aggressively. And now Sophie Cunningham as well, which whatever, she kind of plays with an edge. So that you got to, if Rick Mahorn got fouled hard, he kind of had to take it because he was fouling hard. But Caitlin Clark is fouled more aggressively than other players in the league. And then they've gotten into this, like, I'm not going political, but the whole transgender thing. Now you've got NBA players saying they want to be eligible there. The commissioner is trying to, sent a letter to the teams addressing concerns about it, but didn't really say anything. And does she, this commissioner to me is such a moron, like a flat out moron, because obviously she's not. You don't get the job to be commissioner of the league without being educated, being somewhat smart, supposedly.
Right. So why are you acting like a moron? That's what I mean by, like, get out of your own way. They can't. But that league can't. Anytime they get any publicity, it's, we got to apologize for this. This was wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. Stay in your lane. Do your thing. Grow the league. They can't.
But she sent a memo out to the teams about this whole transgender thing. She didn't say what we're going to do. We're going to set up a committee. She doesn't come out and say anything.
Right.
And this is where I try to bite my tongue, because I have my opinions, but I am not someone who spends a lot of time digging into the troubles of transgender people. I don't. Is that on me?
Well, I'll say it, but unfortunately, anything you say about that subject, you're going to get looked at as a, hateful person.
But
anything you say negative about the WNBA, you're going to get looked at as a negative person too.
But the problem is that the WNBA, like, go look at the clips from ESPN. They're all defending the hard foul. It was just a hard foul. This is how she blocks the ball. She shouldn't have been thrown out. And then they also flat out said, because in the same game, Caitlin Clark kind of got shoved. She didn't get called for a foul, and she bumped the referee. Right. The referee teed her up. Okay, well, they rescinded the tee. And the four talking heads for the league on ESPN are like, well, they shouldn't have rescinded the tee. That's a tee. Are you kidding me? It cannot be more obvious of what's going on.
Well, they're pushing a narrative. That's what they're doing. And you're right. It's unfortunate because it was a once credible news source, and it's now unfortunately become sad. Let's call a spade a spade.
And they don't know how to get out of their own way. The wokeness of ESPN has killed them. I know, no one watches the way they once did. I don't know how many people watch it there's more that watch it than say they do. I will say that. I hear enough. Did you hear what this guy said? No, I don't watch. I watch it for games. Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll put Wilbon and Kornheiser on before I watch whatever the next show is for about 10 minutes.
Oh, that's the best show on television. But other than that, I mean, you can't. Yeah, you're exactly right. They can't get out of their own way, Mark.
So I wanted to bring it up with you. I thought it was a very another bad weekend for that league that's trying to grow. It's trying to grow, and honestly, Mark, if they would just stay out of their own way, it would be growing, because it was growing rapidly for about 2 seasons there, 23 and 24. And as of last year and now, not so. I think the commissioner needs to be fired, for what it's worth.
Sure.
I think that would help the outside look. I would get rid of the commissioner. But you had the owners in Seattle acting like clowns. You've got everybody who speaks in the league seems to have an agenda. So, and I will say, it's made Sophie Cunningham a lot of money. Otherwise, she wouldn't be nearly as popular as she is.
Well,
that finger point and the stuff she's done, she's made herself so much more marketable. I mean, how many of you knew who the hell she was a year ago?
nobody.
And now everybody
she's
knows.
internet famous now because of the finger point and because she's very good looking. Let's just be honest. That's what it is.
Miller and Moulton had to get there today. I apologize. That's the one and only time we will do that. I don't talk about the league. I don't care about the league. But it is a hot topic. I was going to give my take. I would have done it if David was still here and would have said the same thing. So there you go. That's my one and only time we'll do a WNBA take. I'll stay back in my own lane, which is sports that I care about.
Yeah, your WNBA coverage is going to be going away, unfortunately, on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I don't watch. I don't care. I don't put it in the starting five. I don't. Sorry, that's on me. But one of the things I do care about is professional golf, and watched a little bit of the Wyndham because I was trying to see if this Koiven made his way to the first playoff tournament. The young kid who played at Auburn, just turned pro this year, 6 events, ends up just qualifying, getting the last spot. And then there was a lot of news from Liv. They think they're going to survive. You talk to the players, they don't know. They tried to pin Bryson down because he's tied with this venture capital company that's supposedly saving. He's saying he had nothing to do with it. I don't buy any of that. So Live Golf, will it be around next year? And what's left for that? I really don't know at this point what the tour's failed.
If the PGA has figured out what it has essentially figured out, then what is the point of Live? There's no point.
There is none. And if the huge money's not there for these guys, I don't see why they're going to play. And a lot of guys are coming up on contract that I couldn't re-sign not knowing where the money's coming from down the road.
There's so much uncertainty, you know?
So, and then the FedEx Cup, who's going to be spotting? Like, I'm not big into the playoff part of the golf world, but if they're leaving Memphis, that should be a sign that FedEx may be leaving the PGA Tour. That's where they're headquartered. That's a big event for them. So it will be very interesting to see if FedEx, which is a big money player in the PGA, if they're there in 2 years when this new 2-tiered system comes in the professional golf world. I don't think it's what's best for the PGA Tour. We'll see how it works out. If it is, it's not going to be the first time I was wrong, or even the first time I was wrong today. Miller and Moulton, the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is wide open, and some people commenting about the WNBA. You know, when someone says, who does watch the WNBA? I don't. But here's the thing people do. It does better numbers than regular season NHL games. It does.
They talk about it more than more than people watch it, they talk about it. Because everyone's got an opinion. And quite frankly, you know, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Asia Wilson, whatever the case may be, Angel Reese, the league makes headlines. It does, and people talk about the headlines. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't actually watch the games. Myself included. So I'm not, it's not the pot calling the kettle black.
We will talk college football next hour. Bill Bender to join us in about 7 minutes' time. We'll talk some Bills in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit is tomorrow night. Sign up at millerandmoulton.com. I'll be there. Dr. Roto will be there. We'll get you dinner. We'll talk football for a few hours and get you ready to dominate your fantasy football league. The Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night at the DoubleTree in the Bell Tower Shops behind where Shoeless Joe's is at. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com. College football talk with Bill Bender. That's next.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton. millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, Bill.
Hey, what's
How are you?
doing well? Doing well.
How'd summer treat you?
Quick.
Yeah, I know, right? I understand. My daughter started school today. They start early in Florida.
Oh, we start the week.
Okay.
Am I echoing?
I'm hearing an echo. I was going to ask you, Mark.
I'm not.
Let me go in. Come back. Sometimes it. Yeah, I'll be right back.
All right. Not coming through my end. That's strange.
Yeah, I heard an echo. It sounds like in the chat room there was an echo too. So
yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, you guys, Trent, you got it this time or no?
I'm still echo.
I'm hearing echo. Yeah.
Hang on, let me see something here. Echo cancel. Talk again.
Hello. No,
Yeah, I still got it.
We'll give it one more shot. If not, I'll call you, Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, good idea. I was just going to say, we can just call him.
Hello.
Is he echoing? He's not to me, guys.
He's down to me.
He's not?
Yeah, no, he is.
He is? All right, we'll just do the phone, Bill.
Hold on. Am I still echoing?
Yes.
All right. I'll just get my phone.
All right, I'll call you.
Sounds good.
All right, let me click you over.
All right, cool.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Bill. 10 seconds before we go live. Perfect timing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller.
Miller and Moulton. For those that don't know, a little bit of change. It's Miller and Moulton 2.0, if you will. Trent Bally is going to be doing 4 days a week with me. We'll figure out Tuesdays. David's last day was Friday. For those that don't know, unfortunately, his cancer came back. It came back very aggressively. And David is had to retire from the show just for health reasons, quite frankly. And obviously, we're going to miss him. We're thinking about him. And I'll keep you updated with any information that the family allows me to say. But the show, as they say, must go on. And it will. And we'll talk college football with Bill Bender. Bill Bender's been joining the show for years. You know him, Sporting News senior writer, covers college football, based in the Midwest. So he covers the Big Ten as well as all of college football. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Yeah, and I just want to extend my best wishes to David. I mean, obviously, I've been on this show for several years, and, you know, you become friends even if you don't, meet people in person. So wishing him the best. Good to be on with you. I don't know about you, but the Hall of Fame game got me going a little bit that, hey, football's here. Let's get started.
Yeah, I'm one of those that don't watch a lot of preseason, and I've been yelled at by all my friends. It was the greatest preseason game ever. But you're right. Helmets and shoulder pads. We're 19 days away from the start of college football. The first thing I want to ask you before we get to teams and games is they tabled this bill to September, the Save College Sports Act. And I am just curious, do you think this even passes? Because to me, I don't even understand why the Big 12 and ACC would support it, because the 5-year probationary period having to be an independent, it seemed like they made that up for Notre Dame. The Black Caucus came out against it. There's still a lot, even if it passes the Senate, there's nothing for sure that it says it passes the House. So as you dig deep on this, what are you hearing? What do you think the odds of this passing in September are?
Not very high, but I mean, it's a process, right? At least we're putting things into motion that we recognize there are problems in college football. We can't just sit here and say, oh, everything's fine. Because in 5 years, I don't know that everything would be fine between the financial system, the portal, the 5 for 5, which is new. some other things in college football that we would like to perfect. I don't want to say perfect. It will never be perfect, but doesn't it seem like we're headed towards, whether we like it or not, an NFL model in the sport? And how many teams can actually play this thing like an NFL model? And I think that's some of the things we're struggling with. But to answer your question, no, I do not think this will pass in the fall.
Well, Bill, so let me ask you. You say there's a lot of problems in college football. I think we all agree on that. What do you think is the biggest problem right now in college football?
That's a great question. I think for me, it's the calendar right now, right? And I'm talking about, can we do signing day before the season and let high school athletes enjoy their senior season? Can we move the portal date around? Maybe move that to the spring. I know that's not ideal to make kids wait till April, but the college football playoff runs through January 25th. Can we make the playoff shorter in terms of time, right? Like I make this joke all the time. I think the college football playoff takes 50 days, right? And that's just so long and takes forever. And it bumps into the NFL. And I never think they're going to beat the NFL playoffs, and they never do. So can we shorten the calendar a little bit? So if it were me, I think the calendar is the problem. We can fix the portal and NIL and eventually collectively bargaining, but I still think it's the calendar in the short term.
He's Bill Bender, Sporting News, talking college football. One of the other things that I saw over the weekend, it's always been this 16-team playoff or 24-team playoff. Now the playoff committee, I think they get together today or this week, and there's actually talk of a 20-team playoff that apparently behind the scenes has been gaining a lot of steam. What are you hearing there, Bill?
I mean, can we just go to 16? If I was in that room, I would plead for it. I would beg for a 16-team playoff with the first 2 rounds on campus, and we compress this thing. And I don't know that once you get past 16, you need anybody else in. 24 to me is a disaster, but I get why they're pushing it, because they want more product, more TV shows, and more ways to tell fans that your investment in NIL is paying off, right? Because do you guys want to watch a 14 team a 4-loss team in the college football playoff? Do you guys want to watch that?
No,
I don't necessarily do.
No, I'm fine with it staying 12 forever, Bill. I don't have a problem with 12. I'll let them go to 16, but I'm with you. Anything beyond that, we're watering down the product. You've talked about it on our show. The way that we remember regular seasons games may never be the same when we start increasing this. Last year we had Oklahoma beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, but no one remembers that because they turned it around in the playoffs. So you're right. But between Sankey and Petiti, they're just going to do, Bill, like you said, your biggest problem is the schedule, and I think that's a great point. My biggest problem is that no matter how I look at it going forward, there's never going to be one voice in this sport. Conferences are in it for themselves, and I don't know if there's any way to ever change that, Bill. Do you?
I don't think so, and that's until they do. And I know the Big Ten and the SEC are working, quote unquote, you can see me making air quotes right now, together, but they're still in it for themselves. I think the rivalry on the field between the Big Ten and the SEC is great. I mean, I'm all about it. I grew up here in Central Ohio, and I was on a show a couple weeks ago, and it was in Knoxville, and they were saying, well, the Big Ten is hanging on the rim a little bit. I was like, I would be hanging on the rim too, after all of the SEC dominance in the BCS era. But it's an interesting dynamic. And like you said, until you had a central voice saying, we're going to do what's best for, they always say we're going to do what's best for college football. But in reality, these commissioners and these conferences are doing what's best for themselves first.
Well, Bill, I want to ask you, because you talk about the Big Ten hanging on the rim, and I don't disagree. I think a lot of sports fans see it that way. If there is another Big Ten team to win a 4th straight championship, who is it? And if there's an SEC team that's going to dethrone the Big Ten, who is that?
Well, yeah, that's so right off the rip.
Yep.
The Big Ten has 3 national championship top 5 contenders that I could see winning. Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. I could see any one of those 3 teams winning the national title. Imagine if Oregon does it, though, and then they have a 4th different team in 4 years. And that's the thing that the SEC did to build its reputation. Now, one thing, and I'm being fair about this, I looked the last 3 years when the Big Ten and SEC, they play head-to-head games, SEC actually leads 12-11. So when you get into those conversations, I always say it's pretty even. But what we remember, much like Mark was talking about earlier, is you remember the playoff games. You remember Michigan beating Alabama in the Rose Bowl. You remember, the last thing we saw was Indiana, which I never thought I would say this out loud on a radio station. Indiana beating Alabama to the point that it looked like Alabama didn't look like they belonged on the same field with them. That was bizarre, but it happened, and that's what we remember.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the season upcoming. You're in Columbus. The Buckeyes, week 2, Texas. Texas has spent more money than any other team, and Ohio State, I think, second. And I'm already seeing, comments from SEC posts. They're like, will Ohio State be able to stay on the field with them? I'm like, oh, boy, that's pretty lofty. But just how good is this Buckeyes team? Ryan Day talked, he was a little worried about his line initially. So when you look at the Buckeyes, I think you were at practice the other day. What do you see out of Ohio State right now?
Jeremiah Smith is maybe not human. I will start there. He was this is weird, but I noticed he was kneeling, after like a couple plays. And I'm like, is he taller than the trainer while he's kneeling on one knee? It's like looking at a Marvel comic hero of sorts. He is that good. And then you have Chris Henry Jr. opposite him. And I'm like, he might look like Jeremiah in 2 years. So they definitely have some weapons on offense is what I'm trying to tell you. Julian Sayin looked pretty good. I think the key for Ohio State's going to be who steps up on defense, which new playmaker emerges on that defense. And then you mentioned Texas. I'm going to say it this way. Texas has an unbelievable roster. I do think there's more pressure on the Longhorns in that game in week 2. If Ohio State goes down to Texas and loses, yeah, they'll freak out here because it's what they do. But if Texas loses that game, it's like, all right, man, you've got all these guys. When are you going to go out and beat a Georgia? When are you going to go to beat Ohio State? They're 0-5 against Georgia and Ohio State the last 2 years. And I liken it to, I was never as into it as others, but Mark, I try to say it's like a heavyweight boxer that can't knock out another big-time heavyweight. And that's how I feel about Texas right now.
Bill Bender here on Miller and Moulton. Bill, I want to ask you, where does Ohio State stand in the Big Ten? Because now it's expanded, and we know that things have gotten different in the Big Ten landscape. Where does Ohio State stand?
I still think they're the top dog. I think and again, I live in this bubble and I try to stay as objective as possible. But I was we went to the professional lacrosse games up there a couple weeks ago, and talking to my son, and he was like, who has better resources than Ohio State? And I was like, nobody, right? Maybe Texas. And that's what makes that game so huge is they've got unbelievable facilities up there. They are still highly successful. I can't remember the last time they had a bad season. And here's the thing, that they're coming off a 12-2 season. Their schedule is as tough as I've ever seen it. They're playing Texas. They're playing at USC. They're playing at Indiana. They've got Oregon and Michigan coming in. I think 7 ranked teams on the schedule. I can't remember ever seeing a schedule this difficult. And I still assume that they're going to go 10-2 against it at least.
Well, that week 2 game, such a great start to the season. You also get Michigan, Oklahoma that week. He's Bill Bender, Sporting News senior writer, has been joining us for quite a while on this show. Bill, thanks for doing it. Summer's over, man. Time to get after it.
I will. And hey, call me anytime. This was great. And I'm excited about football. Always excited to talk to you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill. Bill Bender, Sporting News here on Miller and Moulton. I've said it. He kind of repeated what I said a few weeks ago. I don't think there's any program that has more pressure on them than the Texas Longhorns. Sark's got to win a big game. Arch had a great second half, but he started out poorly and no one remembers the second half. So not only does Texas need to win that game, I think Arch has to have a good game in doing so. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Adam, need your help here. You made the comment, and I don't think I need new equipment left, Twix, but thanks, because everything's brand new here, okay? I think that was on him, given the fact that the echo was, I know you guys were getting it, I know I was not getting it. So I think it was in his, and when you said, Adam, you said that his PC speakers are probably outputting, you meant by his, you meant Bill's, right? I'm just curious if you're still there. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm just checking because I want to get someone else on and like 3 people later to make sure this is going to work all right. But obviously we did it with several people on Friday and it was fine. I have studio equipment left, Twix. I mean, I know you like to dog on me. You don't know how much money I've spent on all this crap. It's worked for everybody but one guest. I don't really think it's on me, dude. Well, the problem with, we spent 2 hours trying to fix David's computer. David's computer is 20 years old. We put a new computer on it. It worked fine, but it's a long story, but we couldn't use that.
Can everybody relax? Holy cow.
No, I'm asking questions, but I mean,
No, I know. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about
the attack from certain people is constant. I'm kind of used to it.
yeah.
So
Okay. Well, you know that better than me, but I'm just saying.
But yeah, you were right on, Adam, with what we worked so hard. I mean, my old producer spent 2 hours with him, and one, without being there in front of his computer, it was a little hard. But two, it was an old laptop that needed to be replaced. He tried it with someone else's computer in the house, and it worked, but we couldn't use that one because they don't get technology and we're paranoid.
Left Twix, don't poke the bear. How about that? Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. There's no reason. Bill is rock solid, though. I'll tell you that.
He's great. I like Bill.
Yeah.
Always been great to us. And like he's in Columbus, so we kind of got Bill in Columbus. Bud covers everything, but Bud's really good in the South because he's
in the
Florida
South,
guy. And well, I mean, he knows he knows college. I mean, their show's terrific. I listened to Cover 3. That's probably I don't listen to very many podcasts.
Yeah. I do have a Lions flag. I do have a Wings flag. They're just not the chosen ones.
There's not enough room.
Yeah, I only got this much space. Maybe sometime I'll switch it up, but
No, I was not clean, but there's one guy who loves Stammer in here. That is a Steven Stamkos autographed puck, for what it's worth, for the Stammer guy that's there. I like him too. I just don't think he needs to come back to Tampa for $8 schmil a year.
What the hell the Wings going to do, Mark?
Lose.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, big changes. Trent now going to do 4 days a week on the show. Still trying to figure out exactly what Tuesdays are going to be. Mostly me solo. I've brought the kid in for a few segments. We'll see if Jake can hang or if I have to fire my son. Because I'm not afraid. I will. I've already told him that. You are very replaceable. I can get rid of you in a hurry.
I will tell you right now, Mark, I have never felt secure working with you. And I mean that in the best way possible. You will call it how it is. You will tell me I'm bad at my job if I am. So I believe you when you say you'll fire your kid.
Now, that's funny, Trent, because if you go back to your predecessor, Felipe, I was very
That's a hell of a way to start the segment.
No. Right, I was very hard on him, but it was David that wanted to fire him at least 3 times.
And you went to his defense.
I was the one that kept David from firing him. So, I mean, you'll be here for the whole week. Beyond that, I don't know, Trent. I just don't know. A lot of you have asked, and I've tried to come back every segment and say it. It's unfortunate. David's last show was Friday. His cancer returned, and he is in too much pain to do the show. That's really what it boils down to. We're hoping for the best. The prognosis is not good, and David said that on Friday. So if there is information that his family will allow me to share as we go forward, I will. But that's up to them, not up to me. So all I can say is that, whatever you believe in, vibes, good thoughts, prayers, he'll take all of them. So that's
send a prayer. Send a prayer for David Moulton.
That's where we are. So I mentioned this earlier, and I'm going to play it because there's 2 things from the weekend to me that were great. The first was Adam Vinatieri in his Hall of Fame speech. Now, the McAfee one was funny, but people are bent out of shape about this. I'll play it for you, and then we'll discuss it.
I would repeat those last few statements about Coach Bill Belichick as well. thank you for demanding excellence every single day. Your preparation, discipline, and attention to detail shaped far more than my football career. Unfortunately, Bill couldn't make it here today. There's a lot going on at UNC right now. He may be on a recruiting trip right now looking for the next Lawrence Taylor. I thought it was because training camp had already started, but in truth, it's because he's judging his girlfriend's cheerleading competition.
So I'm sorry, 2020. He took a shot at his coach. Now, was that the appropriate place to do it? Probably not. But you know what? He's in the Hall of Fame. And when you get to make your induction speech into the Hall of Fame, I'm of the opinion you can say whatever the hell you want.
Mark,
And-
he's not only in the Hall of Fame, he's in the Hall of Fame as a kicker. And that to me, Mark, looked like one of those old roasts, like celebrity roasts. That's what that looked like. I can't believe that was his Hall of Fame speech, but I'm not complaining about it because I see no problem with it. He's just telling the truth.
Right. So with that being said, when I was doing my work for the starting five last night, I came across an article on next year's Hall of Fame. So all of these finalists that didn't get in, think about how tough it's going to be for them to get in next year. Because Gronk and Adrian Peterson are first-time eligible. They get right in the Hall of Fame. There's no argument.
They can walk in now.
Right. Now, will Ben Roethlisberger get in on the first ballot?
He
I've
should.
never been a big believer in you're not a first ballot guy. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. And Roethlisberger's going to the Hall of Fame. Then there's a few other on like the next list. He's an all-decade team member, Alex Mack. He's a lineman. I've said it forever. I have a difficult time with trying to determine which linemen get in. It's not my forte. But Eric Weddle, another all-decade team, he might get in as well. And then Richard Sherman. Those guys are all first-time eligible. Some other
Okay,
guys.
to me, because it's my wheelhouse, so I'm biased, but Richard Sherman should get in right away. He should. He was the best corner in the league for probably 4 years.
No,
Yeah,
I mean,
he should get right in.
But what I'm saying is, when you look at who the finalists were this year, you still got a bunch of guys that I think are Hall of Fame worthy, and you just said four guys that you think are automatic.
Well, because they only let a certain amount in,
Five.
So I'm exactly with you.
Five.
But yeah. Off the rip, though, there are at least 5 guys that I think should get right into the Hall of Fame. And you're exactly right, Mark. I love what you said. You're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. I mean, it's not hard to figure out, in my opinion.
So, like Reggie Wayne didn't get in. Suggs didn't get in. Steve Smith didn't get in. Torrey Holt didn't get in. Antonio Gates didn't get in. Jared Allen didn't get in. So I'm not saying that they're better than the players we're talking about.
You're just saying what's the sequence of guys that are going into the Hall of Fame. Right.
And you have to get, 75% of the vote, 80% of the vote, whatever. I think it's 75% of the vote inside that room. And what I think has been happening, because they only put 4 guys in this year, I think because you can only vote for so many players. You can't vote for everybody that's a finalist. That's not how it's done. You're limited on how many you can vote for. So that's why they're not getting the 5 in. So they didn't even put 5 in this year. So when you look at that list going forward, they had the anniversary year in which they put in a bunch of players and kind of got this log jam taken care of. Well, I don't know when they do that again. And I don't know if they need to increase the Hall size. I'm not the Hall of Fame guy that David was. I'm not. But I love the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I like the way it's done. I think if they filmed The Room and put that out on a Netflix special would be unbelievable television. They never will. But, they sit and debate it. It's not a bunch of baseball writers that fill out a ballot and don't have to be accountable for it.
Bingo. I think it's the best Hall of Fame for a lot of reasons. And you just mentioned one of them. The Baseball Hall of Fame is snooty and stupid. And then the Basketball Hall of Fame just lets everybody in. So
Right.
the Football Hall of Fame is a true honor. And yes, they do, whether they should or not, Mark, they talk about whether you got in on your third ballot, on your fourth ballot, on your first, are you a first ballot Hall of Famer? That's what the Hall of Fame that I associate that talk the most with.
So, Belichick didn't get in, but that's a different category. It's not part of the players anymore. He should get in next time. That was a gross misjudgment by the Hall voters, and I think some people are not getting their vote. I mean, it's already been talked about that certain people aren't getting a vote anymore. They changed some things after that. It upset enough people. But I mean, Richard Sherman, Ben Roethlisberger, Adrian Peterson, Rob Gronkowski. I think all of those guys are Hall of Famers. I do.
Yeah, me too. And for the record, I don't think there should be a limit on how many can get in per year. I understand why they do it, because they want to keep it prestigious. But in a situation like this, you're exactly right, Mark. Like, all those guys you listed are Hall of Famers. I also think Reggie Wayne is a Hall of Famer. So why put a number? You're essentially making a wait list without even trying to do it. You're making a wait list for guys that should be in, but they can't get in just by default. Certain decades are better than others.
Jared Allen and Gates and I had the wrong list in front of me, but you still, like, Frank Gore didn't get in. Okay, Eli's still on this list.
Do you
Reggie
think
Wayne's still on this list?
Let's talk about that for a quick second. Do you think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer?
No, I don't, but I think he's going to get in. He won 2 Super Bowls. He's on the short list of best playoff quarterbacks ever.
Yep. Terrific playoff performer. And if it weren't for those 2 Super Bowls, then he wouldn't be. But I think you're right.
Regular season, no. Playoffs, yes. Without
different
a doubt.
animal.
No doubt. No doubt. We'll switch gears. We'll talk more pro football. Nick Sabato to talk Bills. That's next.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
No, that's exactly right, DC. They're splitting the votes because you only can vote for X number. I think it's 5. I got to double check that. Phil's fan, what the hell's happened to your team since the break? They can't win. Thought maybe my bet of them winning the division still had a shot, but it's not going well.
Oh, the Phillies?
Yeah. And I need a bunch of Tigers wins to even have a shot at that bet. That ain't happening. Their over-under was like 85. So we're 120 in, basically. Oh, they had no shot.
Probably not at the over-under, but I'm telling you, with this American League, they...
Oh, no. That's totally different. Hey,
Yeah.
Nick, good morning.
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Mark, I'm hearing an echo on that as
You're
well.
good.
I don't know if...
It's got to be a settings thing, and I don't think it's on. I'm going to have to call you, Nick, because we're having some kind of an issue. So I'll just call you up on the phone, okay?
Sure.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to piss you off. I'm just letting you know right away. I mean, there's...
No, you're not. It's going well. Thanks, Nick. For whatever reason, and I don't know what of my co-host here thinks it could be because there was a new Windows setting that it's screwing something up. So he's not having a problem. I'm not having a problem. But both guests have had an echo. So I got to dig into this after. So thanks for doing this by phone. So yeah, someone says it's the new when the computer's updated and it messed with people's audio settings. So I don't know if it's on your end or mine. But let me click you over to the board here. You got us? Nick, do you have us?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, good. All right.
Perfect.
Oh, how's camp been going?
A lot of early mornings, a lot of things. Practice start, so.
Give me 1 second. I got to do one thing here again. This is just. All right, Nick, can you hear me? Nick, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right, yeah. It was to mess up, you need a computer, and I've learned
Yeah, thanks for being flexible, Nick.
No worries.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Thanks so much for joining us. We continue on trying to preview as many teams as possible, getting ready for the start of the National Football League season, which is in 30 days. And we do so now, finishing up the AFC East with Nick Sabato. He covers the Bills for the Niagara Gazette and Lockport Union Sun and Journal. And he's also the co-host of the Buffalo Press Box. You can follow him on X at Nick Sabato, SABATOGNN. Nick Sabato, GNN. Nick, Mark, and Trent this morning. Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's absolutely our pleasure. Before we get to the Bills and their team, they had the blue and red game, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. You got to see the stadium for the first time. There was a lot of people complaining about a lot of things. What were the overall impressions of the new digs?
I mean, they're impressive. It's going to be a loud stadium, but it's going to be a different kind of loud. You have people paying, thousands of dollars for the right to pay for a seat. It's going to change the atmosphere a little bit. And I spent some time walking the concourse during the practice just to kind of get a feel of things. And, there you might see less people in seats, not an empty stadium, but there's just more options to kind of stand and watch and eat and things like that. And yeah, I guess I didn't experience any of them myself, but I guess there's some people with some obstructive view seats, but I guess that wouldn't be the first time that happened in a stadium.
Well, if we get into the nuts and bolts of the actual team, I feel like it's the never-ending question with the Bills. How's the wide receiver situation? What is Josh Allen working with this season?
I mean, DJ Moore has looked pretty impressive. The talk was because he kind of had a down year last year, was whether or not he had lost a step, and it doesn't look like it early on. I mean, they've connected deep, which that's been a missing piece of the Bills' offense the last few years. But I think that was more schematics than personnel. Josh Allen isn't a tremendous deep ball thrower. He kind of lives in that 10 to 19 yard area. That's where he thrives. But it looks like they're gonna take some more shots downfield this year. And DJ Moore, that's his MO. That's what he does. And that should allow Khalil Shakir to do some different things. Joshua Palmer looks healthy. He got hurt week 6 and just never got healthy to the point where he was still rehabbing the same injury early in minicamp, and now he's starting to look healthy. And then you have Keon Coleman, who's on a never-ending quest to find some maturity and consistency. And Dalton Kincaid feels healthier, and he's 10, 12 pounds bigger than he was last year. He's kind of the engine that makes things go with the offense. If he's healthy, they're gonna be pretty successful in the passing game.
All right, and obviously they can run it with James Cook, but they like to run it because Josh Allen likes to run it. Anything that you've seen, heard that indicates to you he's going to run less this year? Because I know it scares the ever-living crap out of every Bills fan every time he leaves and starts running. A lot of great things happen, but I don't know if you can do it forever.
No, yeah, I mean, I don't think you can take that out of his game. It's just kind of, it's part of who he is. You have to live with it. It's part of the Josh Allen experience. He's going to do some head scratching things. I mean, we saw that a little bit in that playoff game against the Broncos. He's kind of cut back on a lot of that stuff in the last couple of years, but every once in a while that comes out in him, and you're never going to be able to put a harness on him and just tell him he can't run, or and frankly, if you don't use that, use his legs, you're probably doing a disservice to your offense, because it's just part of who he is.
Well, we're going to talk later in the show this morning about quarterback rankings and where people have ranked certain quarterbacks. Do you think Josh Allen's at the top, or where does he fall for you?
I would say Josh Allen is the best football player in the NFL, the best quarterback in the NFL. So the best quarterback in the NFL. Football player covers a lot of ground, but he's the best quarterback in the NFL. That doesn't necessarily mean he's the best passer. Just the entire Josh Allen experience, I think, just puts him at the top of the list. He's just a force of nature. I think maybe you look at a Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow in terms of just being the best pure passer, but just you put all the tools together. There's not a lot of things that he can't do, and there's Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, they can't run like Josh Allen. Even Lamar Jackson, Lamar Jackson is a tremendous runner. He can't run with the power that Josh Allen can run with. Lamar Jackson isn't going to be able to throw a 20-yard dime on the run, with defenders hanging all over him. Just Josh Allen can do a lot of things nobody else can do. But then that doesn't necessarily mean he's the best passer. And I think, a lot of times in that conversation, we get things confused with that.
All right, let's talk about the other side of the ball because that's a lot of the time where the conversation goes. They didn't make a ton of changes from a year ago. When you look at who they drafted, they're using them as a lot of depth. So I think that definitely helps their defense. But a new defensive coordinator, John Fox, a special assistant, maybe helping on that side. When you just look at schematically the defense, how much different will it be from a year ago?
It's going to be different. We're talking about a completely different scheme. I think we're talking about a completely different mentality. There's an edge to this defense now, a nastiness. You bring in a C.J. Gardner-Johnson. That's a guy that wouldn't have been here a year ago. We saw some scuffles the first day of pads, and Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator, he said, well, you like him to not fight, but you like to know they have some bite. That's a completely different mentality than we've seen. I think you're going to see some more blitzes. You're going to see some more unique blitzes. The Bills, around 2021, they adopted this Patrick Mahomes defense where you play a cover 2 shell and you don't blitz very much, and you make people beat you on underneath throws. And at the time, it was an innovative idea because Sean McDermott was one of the highest. He came from the Jim Johnson tree and he blitzed all the time, and they went to blitzing less than 20% of the time, and a lot of teams have kind of followed that model. But you get into the playoffs and it gets stale. I think you're going to see that number over 30% of the time this year. Obviously, they switched from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and I think they're all about creating one-on-one matchups for guys like Greg Rousseau, who hasn't necessarily been asked to pin his ears back and rush the passer in his career very often. Ed Oliver, similar deal. He's faced a lot of double teams, and he's an undersized defensive tackle. They want to get him matched up one-on-one because when he's very successful, and they've done that in a lot of different ways, whether it's blitzing, whether it's using a 5-man front in one linebacker, or nickel, dime. I think they're going to be pretty varied, and we haven't even seen all of what they're going to do in practice. Michael Hoyt is still working his way back from an Achilles, and we haven't seen any of the packages that he's going to be in. So it's going to be interesting to see what they roll out week 1.
Well, you talked a little bit about coaching trees, and you've got Joe Brady now taking over. How do you think his relationship with Josh is going to translate? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bumpy at first? What do you think?
The whole deal is interesting because, around November, we kind of looked at things. There's that Houston Texans game where Allen, they had some delays getting the play into the huddle on like a 4th down, and he was not happy.
Right.
And there was talk of whether or not, a lot of their passing game stuff is placed on the receivers, but Allen didn't have a great year last year, and I don't know necessarily that Joe Brady had a great year. That is interesting that you fast forward a few months and Joe Brady's named the head coach. We didn't know what kind of relationship Allen actually had with Joe Brady, and clearly here we are because Allen wouldn't have signed off on this if Brady wasn't one of his guys. So, I think that relationship's going to help, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what a Joe Brady offense looks like without Sean McDermott over his shoulder. How much of what we've seen from Joe Brady was Joe Brady? Obviously, some of it was Joe Brady, or he wouldn't have taken the job. But, Sean McDermott certainly had a certain level of influence in terms of, designing, the way that they want to play.
It's a great point. And one of the things I'd heard about camp we talked about a week ago is just how prepared this offense already is, because there is stability on that side of the ball that when they're lining up in practice the first day, I guess, of pads and hitting, guys already, there was not a lot of stoppages because guys were in the wrong spots. It seems that there's already a lot of cohesiveness on the offense. And how important do you think that is? Because you look at they got an early bye, 6 games before the bye. They're playing, 4 playoff teams and the Lions, who are expected to be a playoff team, and then the Raiders, who are not. I mean, of their first 6, they've got 5 legit opponents. Do you think that the cohesiveness offensively, how much that will help them to get off to a good start against some pretty good football teams?
Oh, I mean, you don't have to go any further than week 1 with the Texans. I mean, that's already a nasty defense, especially early on. They don't do a lot of fancy stuff, and that can be difficult for teams. And let's be honest, the Josh Allen has not been. He said it himself. He has not been very successful against the Texans. Not only has he never beaten the Texans, he's been not good. A couple years ago, he was 9 for 30. So right off the bat, we're about to find out, how good they are week 1. And, obviously, I think when you have a shift like that, where you're changing some things culturally, when you're, bringing in a new defense, it helps to have an offense that's been around and been experienced. And I think, you have that run game. I think we're going to see a more Josh Allen-centric offense this year. I think they're going to throw the ball a little bit more. I mean, you look at it, I think he's been in the bottom 5 in passing attempts the last 2 years. I think you're going to see a little more throwing. But when you have James Cook, when you have that offensive line, they just paid Osiris Torrance, the right guard, 4 of the 5 offensive linemen back, and maybe the left guard is a guy who's been around for a while as a backup. That's going to help when you can lean on your run game if things kind of get wonky. So yeah, that's going to help. And it's also some pressure because you've got Josh Allen and you made this big shift. You changed coaches. You fired a coach who, historically was on, one of the great runs in NFL history without a Super Bowl. One of 6 coaches to win a playoff game 6 years in a row, or one of 3 coaches to win a playoff game 6 years in a row. One of 6 coaches, to have double-digit wins in 6 consecutive seasons. So you're placing a lot of faith in Joe Brady here, and that offense better deliver.
All right, 30 seconds here. Just to quickly end this thing, fork to nose. I mean, can the Bills take back control of this division that they've controlled for much of the decade, right? Can the Bills get back on top?
Yeah. I think you look at last year, the first game, a lot of people would have thought that the Bills kind of coughed that game up against the Patriots, and then obviously they had a pretty remarkable comeback the second time around. And I mean, you've got Josh Allen. I think anytime you have Josh Allen, you have a chance.
Right.
No doubt. He's Nick Sabato, covers the Bills. You can follow him online on X at Nick Sabato GNN, co-host of the Buffalo Press Box, and does work for the Niagara Gazette. Nick, thanks for taking so much time. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of camp, and we'll catch up early in the season, I hope.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Nick Sabato here on Miller and Moulton, giving us some extensive coverage of the Bills training camp, and everything that they've got ahead. I think they win the division, Trent. I think they take back the division. I do find it interesting. We've talked a lot about Houston in the past couple of weeks. I'm not joking when I say this. Bills at Houston week 1 could be for the 1 seed.
I don't think you're wrong at all. And I do think the Bills take it back as well because, Mark, I'm also one of those people that I put a lot more stock in a first-place schedule. Pat Kerwin will tell you there's no easy schedule in the NFL. I believe that. But just for semantics, I mean, the Patriots got to play a first-place schedule.
No doubt. And I think just the West has such a difficult schedule, it makes it tough for any of those teams to be the 1.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That was a solid interview.
He's good. He does a good job on the Bills.
Yeah. I'm hearing myself twice.
You're hearing an echo now?
I'm hearing an echo. Yeah.
Now that's coming.
Yeah. I think it's your speakers.
My speakers?
Yes.
All right, then let's. I'm not. Let's try this. Does that make it go away?
Yes.
That made it go away.
Yep, I don't hear anything.
Is there still an echo, chat? You're hearing an echo.
No, yes, that made it go away. Yes, Adam's saying yes, that made it go away.
All right.
No more echo. Okay, we're good.
I don't know why sometimes that happens, guys, with the I cannot begin. Let's just see if I hide it. Because it's not. Let me just see something here. Now it comes up.
Not to be a jerk here, but guys, this isn't exactly the easiest operation.
No, it is an easy operation. I don't understand why some things happen. I don't get it. So maybe that was my end. I've changed the speakers. I don't know.
Well, I've been on here with you countless times. It's never happened. So I
know, but there's a new Windows setting and it messed with some stuff last week. So I try to get in here every night and test. No, it is a big deal. The show's got to sound right. I mean, that's kind of important.
It's a huge deal.
So appreciate all your help.
You know, the Twitch chat room it's a bonus. I mean, it's a radio medium.
Oh, well, now you've got it. Toasted winning by a large margin, everyone.
Jeez.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller.
Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. Hello, Jacksonville. Hello, Tampa. Appreciate you being a part of our morning, and we're being a part of your morning. Thank you so much. Obviously, I've been updating people throughout the show, but I know you jump in and out. David Moulton is done with us, and it's not because of me, and it's not because he didn't want to continue doing it. Unfortunately, David has a health issue. His cancer has come back. He was open about it for probably the past month on air when he missed a couple of weeks, and it's to the point where the pain's too much, and he can't do the show anymore. So Friday was his last show. As I've said many times, I will do my best to keep our audience informed of what's going on, but that's only with the permission of he and his family. So what they allow me to say, I will say. What they tell me to shut the blank up about, I'll shut the blank up about.
But we know David Moulton loves his sports, and obviously he'd be doing this every single morning if he could. But unfortunately, under the worst of circumstances, there's no more David Moulton. But again, I got to say it again because I said it at the opening of the show. My heart goes out to David, and I'm thinking of his family. And obviously, Mark, we're in touch with him, and he's doing A-okay right now, or not really, but
no, he's not. Actually, that's the nothing could be further from the truth than that statement. I'm not being a jerk, Trent.
And
no, he's not doing A-okay. He's doing absolutely effing horrible, okay?
And I'm not laughing about that. I'm just, laughing about our dynamic right here, you and me. But,
so let's move on to something that you can talk less intelligently about football. I worry after that comment, anything else that comes out of your mouth, I'm having trouble with right now. Okay. It's kids these days. I'm excited. I'm excited about bringing the younger guy on to get a different perspective, and we got that earlier with some of his comments about basketball. But we'll try our best to give the young guy enough rope just to hang himself. But I sent you an article over the weekend about the tiers of quarterbacks, and it was done. It was a list that was comprised by 50 coaches and executives. Now, I believe they do it anonymously. So it was 8 GMs, 5 assistant GMs, 5 former GMs, 3 other executives, 9 head coaches, 10 DCs, 5 OCs, and some assistant coaches. So 21 executives, 29 coaches. They placed 35 quarterbacks into 5 tiers, from tier 1 to tier 5. Obviously, rookies are not on it. So there are only, what is there? There's 4 tier 1 quarterbacks.
And there should only be that, by the way. We were talking about the Hall of Fame and the prestigious, nature of it. I don't think you can make tier 1 too big, Mark.
No, I've got you, but there's one guy that's not on it anymore, and I'm wondering if you would disagree. So the tier 1 guys are Mahomes, who was voted number 1. 49 of the panelists voted him tier 1. Only 1 voted him tier 2. Josh Allen was 48-2, as was Matthew Stafford. They are considered the next 2 best quarterbacks. Joe Burrow was the other tier 1 quarterback with 46 tier 1 votes and 4 tier 2 votes. So, first off, do you have a problem with any of those guys being tier 1 guys?
No, I think all those guys are deserving of that. I just don't want to get the tier too big, if you know what I mean.
Tier 2 was huge.
Yeah.
And it starts with Lamar Jackson. He had been a tier 1 quarterback every time they've done this. He's the only guy who dropped from tier 1 to tier 2.
I mean, he won MVP in 2019. I mean, we're talking 7 years here where he's been an elite quarterback. So the only reason I think he dropped, Mark, is because he got hurt.
Well, and he put up great numbers 2 years ago. I mean, I still view him as a tier 1 quarterback.
Me too.
So I was a little surprised. But again, these are NFL people, and he ended up getting more tier 2 votes, 28 to tier 1 votes. As they rank them, Herbert's next, Prescott, Drake May, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, Jordan Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Trevor Lawrence, and the final tier 2 quarterback is Jalen Hurts. Do you have a problem with Jalen Hurts being the lowest ranked tier 2 quarterback? He's accomplished more than I think every guy on that list.
Yes, I do have a problem with that because you're exactly right. Like, would I put him up against? I'm trying to think. Like, do I think Jalen Hurts?
Would you rather have Jalen Hurts or Jared Goff?
Jared Goff. He's a better passer. And just given what the Lions do best. But that's beside the point. I guess a better example would be Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts. Like, I absolutely think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence.
For what it's worth, Trevor Lawrence got 1 tier 1 vote, 26 tier 2s, and 23 tier 3s. Hurts ended up with the same number of tier 2 votes as he did tier 3 votes. So he just barely made how they, I guess the tie's broken up here.
Well, here's another one, Mark. I think, of the tier 2 quarterbacks, like you said, tier 2 is huge because I understand, you've only got your elite quarterbacks, then you've got a bunch of guys in the middle. But, to me, Caleb Williams and Jalen Hurts, that's a very good discussion right there. You know what I mean?
All right, I'll give you this one. Bucks fan. And I love Baker Mayfield.
I know what you're going to say.
I might lean Baker, but Baker Mayfield or Jalen Hurts, who would you rather have? I think they're both outstanding leaders. I think Mayfield probably throws a little better ball. They're both run. They both can run the football. Jalen Hurts, obviously, and I don't care if they ban the tush push or not. He can get me a 3rd and 1 every damn time.
They're both Oklahoma Sooners, Mark. I had to throw that in there. But you're exactly right. Whether they ban the tush push or not, I mean, if it's a 3rd and short situation or a 4th and short situation, I don't know if there's 5 quarterbacks I'd rather. There's not. I'll tell you right now, there's not 5 quarterbacks I'd rather take than Jalen Hurts.
You know, Jordan Love got 2 tier 1 votes and 37 tier 2. He's ranked number 10.
I think that's absurd.
Goff and Drake May are tied for 8th. Drake May got 5 tier 1 votes. I think it's a huge year for him. If he and A.J. Brown end up being a great combination, this will hold true, and he will climb higher towards the tier 1 when they do this list next year.
You just nailed that, Mark, because that is one of the things that everyone's going to be watching, not just like Patriots fans, football fans at large. How is Drake May going to do now playing in a first-place schedule without his regular number 1, and can he replicate what he did a year ago? I don't know the answer. We'll see.
Like Lamar got 22 tier 1 votes, 28 tier 2. Justin Herbert got 19 tier 1 votes. He actually got 3 tier 3 votes, which I wouldn't make him a tier 3 guy, but Justin Herbert is the number 6 guy on the list. Dak 7. You know, who would you rather have? Just out of those two, you got one guy to start for you, Justin Herbert or Dak Prescott?
Justin Herbert with a bullet. I'll take Herbert with a bullet. And I know that's because you have an emotional history with the Chargers and you don't.
No, how many playoff games? And I know the Cowboys haven't won hardly any either, but Justin Herbert has not done anything in the postseason. Dak, first, I think the Cowboys could surprise some people this year. I think they're going to be a representative football team. I do.
So that's a different question, though, and I agree with you. But I think Justin Herbert's a better passer, and I think he's more mobile than Dak Prescott. So I'd rather have Justin Herbert.
So those are the tier 3 guys for what it's worth. The tier 3 starts with Bo Nix. Bo Nix is ranked 18th, 1 spot ahead of Aaron Rodgers. C.J. Stroud, 20. Daniel Jones, 21. Bryce Young, 22. Kyler Murray, 23.
By the way, 2 guys that you just mentioned, C.J. Stroud, Kyler Murray. Ooh, how the mighty have fallen.
By the way, Malik Willis is 29. He starts the tier 4 list. So that's just a little bit on the quarterback position. And these are NFL people, coaches, executives, even they had a couple analytic coaches in on this as well. But I do think when you look at Drake May, if I were to say out of the top tier 2 guys on here, which guy is a tier 1 guy next year? All right, I'll give you. Lamar's been there. So you've got Herbert. I don't think Prescott ever gets to the tier 1 level. Justin Herbert, Drake May, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, Brock Purdy. Tell me the one that is the best shot to be a tier 1 after this year.
Caleb Williams.
I'd vote Drake May.
And I don't disagree with you. That'd probably be my second answer. But I think Caleb Williams, just based on his trajectory where he's going, I think of all those guys, like he'd be the next guy to be a top 5 dude in the league.
And certainly Justin Herbert, I think because this is coaches and executives, I think the GMs love Justin Herbert.
They do.
Because in shorts and a t-shirt, my God, is he good. he looks like the perfect quarterback. No, he does.
Yeah, he does. But you're not wrong. It's just funny how you're exactly right. It's like, who's voting on this? Who's making these lists? And when you start to get down to that and the nuts and bolts of like who's voting on the list, it starts to make more sense. It does.
All right, the Chargers. I'll ask you, better shot of winning the AFC West or finishing in 3rd in the AFC West? Like, I think the Raiders are clearly going to finish last. Do the Chargers with Mahomes back and not a lot around him, in my opinion, because I think they could end up 3rd again. The Chargers, better shot at being 1st or 3rd?
First, just based on their weapons. I mean, I think they have a better chance at being 1st than 3rd. I'm trying to think about this now. I'm thinking out loud. But I don't think the Chiefs are all that. I don't. I don't either. I think their time has come and gone. I think Travis Kelce's old. I don't love their receiver situation. I don't love their offensive line. So
And
then
their
you start
pass
to
rush.
just think of,
I'll continue on with you. Their pass rush. But I think Denver's got the best roster maybe in the NFL.
but I think then you just start to go like, how many games can Patrick Mahomes win you? And I don't think he can win you much more than 8 by himself.
Miller and Moulton talking quarterbacks as we're 30 days away from the start of the NFL season.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, I've thought about jumping in the listener league, but if you guys all kicked my ass, I don't know if I could handle that. Thank you, Bob.
Empire, I'm in. I'm totally in.
My golf game.
Just know. Go ahead. Sorry.
My golf game sucks, OC. It absolutely sucks. It is so frustrating, but I look at it this way. I'm able to play golf, so that makes me happy.
That's a blessing.
and
sure.
we played a 5-some on Saturday because one of the guys, it's a long story, but we were messing with one guy. And one guy that bailed out was practicing. We're like, come on, we'll play 5. And he was going to play 9 with us. So we asked permission from the pro shop. We played 5. The group behind us never saw us. We played a 5-some in 3 hours and 35 minutes. Golf can be played at the right pace if you know what you're doing.
Yes, it can. Oh my God. I had a bachelor party last weekend. Not last weekend. It was last 2 weeks ago. I don't know. But
what'd you guys play? Dungeons and Dragons? What do you guys, since you don't drink
no,
anymore?
No. We golfed.
You golfed, huh?
We golfed up north, Mark, quote unquote. And
Okay.
it was a gorgeous course, but my God, my brother and his best friend behind us were so far behind. Like, oh my God, we got on the 18th green and we waited for them for probably 45 minutes. I was like, ugh.
All right, so you did a bachelor party to go. The days of going to strip joints are apparently over. I'm just saying they don't exist anymore.
That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to golf.
No,
So,
I understand. I understand. Your generation's ruined the world. It is what it is. What are you going to do? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. MFH Law. That's Michael, right? He goes, Trent golfed and went crazy and had 5 wings. Exactly.
Right.
That's pretty much what I did. That's funny. All right, I have a question for you, unless you got something better.
I got one thing here I want to talk about, but
Okay. Well, I'm sticking with quarterbacks, but if you don't want to do that today, we can. We don't have to overthink it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. We are a day away from the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto, me, you, Roto, dinner, and football talk for a couple of hours at least. It's at the Doubletree Hotel. Sign up now, millerandmoulton.com, millerandmoulton.com. The link's right there for you to sign up. Trent, you said you had something for me, so you know what? You run a segment. Go for it, big fella.
Well, I was simply interested because we were just talking about quarterbacks and quarterback rankings, and there's a guy who's kind of in the middle of the pack, towards the bottom of the top 10 or, the start of the top 15, whatever, who we didn't really talk about, and that's Jordan Love. And I'm curious how you feel about Jordan Love, because I at this point, I feel like I know what he is. I know what I'm getting. I don't think he's getting any better. He's now started for 3-4 years.
Well, I'm tainted because every time David saw him play, he never saw him play well. And David was very anti-Jordan Love. I'm not as anti as he is because I look at Jordan Love kind of the way, I'm not comparing him to Josh Allen, but you made the question when we were talking to Nick. What are the receivers
same play
look
style?
like? Well, but when I look at Jordan Love, I'm like, have they been able to give him enough help? And the receivers all get hurt. They invested in Golden last year in the draft. Watson can't stay healthy. So I would love a season for the Packers to have the full complement of receivers to play a whole year. Because I just think their receivers are okay. They're good when they're healthy.
Tucker Kraft is a hell of a tight end.
No, he's really good. Does Jordan Love, and I don't know to me, this is still an incomplete. Does Jordan Love make players better? If you know what I mean. Are receivers
and I guess
better because they're playing with him? And I think they're just what they are because of him. I don't think he makes players worse. Like, I don't think he's, I don't think he was CJ Stroud last year in the playoffs, if you know what I mean, where he can't get out of his own way. But I think he's ranked appropriately. I think he's a middle third guy. Is he a top 12 quarterback in the league? Hell no. Is he somewhere on his best day, closer to 13 than 20? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if I were to rank the quarterbacks in that division, like, he's obviously third, but I'll take Caleb over him and I'll take Goff over him in that division.
Okay, so I agree with you. The reason I asked the question is just because it's the age-old thing of let's draft and stash a guy and then let him sit for 2 or 3 years behind an all-time great, and then we bring him to the forefront. And I just don't know if I'm a Packers fan, which thank God I'm not. I don't know if a Packers fan would look at him and say, he's reached our expectations. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if he's...
All right. Let me ask you I'm going to stop you there. You'd really rather be a fan of a team that's never been to a Super Bowl than the Green Bay Packers. Like,
I just had to get that dig in.
Seriously.
Of course not. I just had to get that dig in. But you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I think most Packers fans are either... I think this is a big year for Jared Love or
Jordan Love.
Jordan Love, my bad. But I think it's a huge year for him because they spent a lot of draft capital to get him. They stashed him for 3 years, and he hasn't really won them anything. They haven't won the division since he took over. So I don't really know what his approval rate is, if you know what I mean. That's all I'm saying. So I find it interesting, because I'm with you, Mark. I think he's right in that like middle tier of like the NFL. He's like right in that middle third, but I don't know if there's a whole lot of room for him to grow. That's all I'm saying.
I think you're absolutely. I think this is of all the quarterbacks that there are big years for. I think Trevor Lawrence has a big year ahead of him. He was good last year.
Oh, yeah.
He's supposed to be better than that. Their receivers, I love. Now, I like Green Bay's receivers if they stay healthy. Your point about the tight ends, right on. And I think, Josh Jacobs, notwithstanding what happened in the offseason, he can run the football. So they've got a running back. They've got a really good tight end, and they got a couple of good receivers. Now, they have the ability, by the way, to get off to a great start.
Well, and Mark, they also have one of the best pass rushers in all of football, and Micah Parsons, and he's healthy again. So you've got that on the other side. I don't know how good the defense is as a whole, but you've got that.
But boy, did it change when he left the lineup last year.
Yes,
they were a different team when he was
plummeted.
Gone. So they open at the Vikings. It's Packers-Vikings. I'm not going to say that the Vikings can't win that game at home. But then they play at the Jets. That's a win. They're home for Atlanta. That's a win. They're at Tampa Bay. What's the crowd going to be for Green Bay at Tampa Bay? It's going to be at best 70-30 Tampa. Like, I'm not joking here.
That's a great question. I don't know.
And then they host Chicago. They host Dallas. I mean, Dallas and Chicago are both, in Tampa. But I mean, they could, if they beat Minnesota, they could be 3-0 going to Tampa. And in that division, banking wins early is going to be important because it's probably, I think the division's just as competitive as it was a year ago. I think it takes 11 to win that division. I don't think we'll have what we had a couple of years ago with multiple teams in double digits. I just don't see that. But if I'm not mistaken, the crossover is not bad because they play the AFC East and they play the NFC South. So, I mean, when you look at that, I mean, come on. That's going to be, you look at Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago. What do you do against the South? It's a bunch of 500 football teams. Someone's going to go 3-1 against them. God forbid. If you could
handpick a division, you'd pick the NFC South.
Well, but God forbid you lose to the Dolphins or the Jets. We talked about a couple weeks ago out of New England and Buffalo. If one of them screws up a divisional game, it could be the difference between first and second. I'll tell you what right now. Look at the NFC North, and you tell me what their records are against the NFC South and the bottom two in the AFC East, and you might see who wins that division too. Because I could see a lot of 3-3 in divisional play.
Yeah, and that is absolutely something that's on the board for the Packers. So, but my point is, if you could handpick, a quarterback, you probably wouldn't pick Jordan Love, and if you could handpick a division to play for the crossover, you'd pick up the NFC South. 10 times out of 10.
But I'm with you from the pressure that Jordan Love has. This is obviously now it's been a couple years. This is his team, and he's good, not great. I've not seen a lot of great out of Jordan Love. I've seen some good to very good. Can he take the next step? Because the same thing for Caleb Williams, but I guess I see it. Like, I see the relationship with quarterback and coach there being able to elevate both of them.
Yes, they work together because they came in at the same time, right? Or they came in at a similar time. Caleb Williams obviously played his rookie year with what's his face, the defensive coordinator who sucked as head coach.
Right. That was down in Dallas, Eberflus.
Eberflus. Yeah. But I guess I'm with you. Like, Jordan Love just is what he is. Like, he's good. He's not anything special, and I don't think he's anything that if you have a moderate roster that he's going to like elevate you. And that's when we talk about wide receivers with the Bills and everything, Josh Allen elevates receivers. Does Jordan Love do that? I say no.
And Parsons is starting on the pup, so I don't think he's there for that's not going to be week 1. And I think that's going to that schedule that's doable. How's that defense? Because they were not good without Micah Parsons a year ago. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. The Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night. Doubletree Hotel in Fort Myers, the Bell Tower Shops. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com. Dr. Roto, me, you, dinner, some drinks. Should be a good time. Can't wait to see you there. The good, the bad, and the ugly next.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
That is hilarious, DC. I want David here for that. Wow. That's funny, DC. That's funny. I'm going to ask that to Pat on Wednesday. I will say that's one we got right. Oh, he'll wait till he comes back. He'll probably love him. He'll probably tell us why he was great. I mean, you guys have to understand. I literally I don't know how I know my phone listens to me. Like, I am aware now that your phone the man is always there, because I get more videos now on LeBron and Jordan comparisons, and I send to everyone to he and Felipe. Everyone. It's to the point where they don't even respond anymore. There you go. He's got a backup for you. Anthony Richardson, you want him?
Oh, I'd take him as a backup. I would take him as a backup. Come on.
I wouldn't take him as a ball boy.
I know your opinion on him.
I thought he sucked when they took him in the league, and I thought he sucks now. He couldn't stay healthy.
Empire, if LeBron was a chip in Philly, he's the GOAT. He just undeniably. You can't tell me.
Undeniably. If he wins one as the fourth best player on a team, that makes him the greatest player of all time.
Oh my God, he might win the Finals MVP. He would probably average a triple-double in that.
Okay.
I'm saying in that series, not in the season.
Okay.
But
he's the fourth best player on the team this year. He's 40-something years old. He's a great player. That. He's not as good as Embiid. He's not as good as Maxey.
He's better than Edgecombe.
He's not as good as Brown.
He's better than Edgecombe right now.
Okay. Brown.
And I would say no.
Okay. Maxey?
He's better than Maxey. Absolutely. Yes, he is.
Not today. Not today.
And he's better and he's better than Embiid too, because Embiid doesn't play half the games.
Neither does he anymore.
You got to bake that in.
Oh my God. Oh God. Oh goodness.
Maxey's very good. Maxey's very good, DC. He's a very good player. LeBron's better. He's a better passer. He's a better scorer. See, Bob, I've never understood the 6-for-6 thing, because in the Olympics, do we downgrade people for winning a silver medal? I don't understand. Like, you only went to 6 finals. Okay, well, yeah, you won 6 of them. Great. LeBron went to 8 in a row.
We're coming back. I'm not doing this every day, or I will.
We're not.
I promise.
I know you will. I believe you.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000.
Miller and Moulton, wrapping things up for a Monday. New way this show's going. Big changes. If you're just joining us, David retired because of health reasons. Friday was his last show. His cancer's back. It has been very aggressive. He's been in a great deal of pain, and he can't do the show anymore. So Friday was his last show. In fact, he said he would text more. I barely heard from him over the weekend. That was because I checked in on him. But we do things at the end of the show, and this always entertains me to see what Trent knows and what Trent doesn't know.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1934. Babe Ruth announces this is his final season as a full-time player.
I do know who Babe Ruth was.
That's good. 1 for 1. 1939, The Wizard of Oz has its world premiere and of all places, Green Bay, Wisconsin. It would open widely in U.S. theaters about 2 weeks later. Have you seen The Wizard of Oz?
Of course I have. That movie changed Hollywood, and I'm a big Hollywood fan, big movie fan. Yeah, that's one of the formative.
One for one, 1960. Hitchcock's Psycho premieres. Have you seen Psycho? Oh, that's good. That's a black and white. I'm impressed.
Anthony Perkins, the shower scene is infamous. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen Psycho.
The pride of Saginaw, Michigan. I can say that with certainty because it's not Draymond Green. It's this man, Stevie Wonder, when he was little Stevie Wonder. Today in 1963, Fingertips begins a 3-week run on the top of the charts. He was 13 years old.
One of the greatest musicians, singer, songwriter, whatever you want to call it. I just unbelievable, that guy. With the limitations he had and the music he put out, holy cow.
You mean by limitations the fact that he was blind?
Yeah, that's a limitation.
Today in 71, Harmon Killebrew becomes the 10th to get 500 home runs. He would actually hit 2 that day for the Twinkies, getting 500 and 501. Herman Killebrew, have you heard of him?
No.
Harmon Killebrew, rather. No?
No.
Pretty substantial baseball player. Pretty
there
good
you go.
Pretty good player for the Twins. All right, the PGA was today at Firestone in 75. Jack wins his 4th. 1979, Michael Jackson's best album was released. It's not Thriller, kids. It's Off the Wall. It would win Album of the Year in 80. I know he's a freak. I know he was a horrible person, but Off the Wall is a great. He was
Off the Wall is better than Thriller, and I would say Bad is better than Thriller too. I die on that hill.
All right. 1980, Jack wins his 5th and final PGA at Oak Hill, winning by 7 over Andy Bean. 2 things in 84. The first one, some hoop. U.S. beats Spain by 31 to win gold. Ewing, Jordan, Mullen, all on that team. And also today in 84, I would go as far as to get in trouble with David on this. I would put this in my iconic movie ratings. The first movie released as a PG-13, the original Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze, who was such a big movie for people that are my age. For guys of my age, that was a guy movie.
I've actually seen that.
It's terrific.
It's a good movie.
2008, Padraig Harrington wins his 2nd consecutive major, winning the PGA at Oakland Hills by 2 shots over Sergio and Ben Curtis. And in 2014, Rory wins his 2nd PGA, beating Phil Mickelson by 1 shot.
Which, by the way, in 2014, wasn't that his most recent until last year at the Masters? Didn't he go like a decade without winning a major?
Yeah.
I think it was.
Herbert Hoover, our 31st president, and Jimmy Dean. Yep, you know it, the sausage guy. He was also a country and western artist and a TV show host and a lot of other things. But Jimmy Dean, the sausage guy, they would have both celebrated their birthdays today. Ian Anderson is 79. You don't know who that is? That's the guy that was the lead singer of Jethro Tull.
No clue.
Do you know who Jethro Tull is?
Of course I do, but I just don't know the names.
All right, fair enough. Rosanna Arquette is 67.
Nope.
Actress. Desperately Seeking Susan. There's a few others. Antonio Banderas is 66.
Of course I know who that is.
Okay.
He's Puss in Boots.
Kenny Perry is also 66. PGA golfer, been on the show several times when he used to play in the shootout. John Starks is 61. Riddick Bowe, 59.
Well, if I can back up to John Starks, if he wouldn't have gone cold in Game 7 in 1984, David Moulton would be a lot happier.
Riddick Bowe, any idea who that is?
No.
Heavyweight fighter. Gino Torres, 56, former Kane great. Pride of Estero, Matt Prater's 42. Delvin Cook, 31. Kylie Jenner, 29. And John Morant's 27. What do you think about Ja Morant? Do you think you can win with Ja Morant, or do you just think he's a scorer, if you know what I mean?
No, he's a complete knucklehead.
Well, that's easy. I'm with you there.
But that's it. I mean, that's my opinion. It ends there. Like, I'm not signing him to my team because he's a complete knucklehead. Can you win with him? Sure. If he plays every game and can actually like show up and not have issues going on.
By the way, I'm being reminded by several people that Killebrew is basically is the logo of MLB, just for what it's worth. How West is the logo of the NBA. Killebrew's the swings that many people say is the MLB logo, for what it's worth.
There you go.
Just letting you know, Trent.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good today, we go to California, where a book that was stolen 40 years ago was returned to a bookstore with an apology note and $100. Booklegger in Eureka, California, said on its social media page that a package arrived. Employees opened it to discover a copy of The Unstrung Harp by Edward Gorney. A note included in the package explained that this person had stole the book and had a drug problem at the time while he was in college. Said he was in desperate need of money, but more desperately in need of a spiritual awakening. I was eventually blessed with just a change. And he had $100 in there. They said they recently found it in their garage. For the bad, we go to the Palm Coast, where a woman's facing charges after using her 9-year-old daughter to help her rip off stuff from a Target store. Lisa DeBentix was arrested. Store security saw the pair leaving with unpaid items, including items in a pink backpack. They apparently skipped scanning several items in the self-checkout line before they left. She was charged with petty theft and contributing to the delinquency of a child. And finally, the ugly, we go to Panama City and Publix. And come on now, what can you say bad about Publix? The best sub's going. But apparently, two men at the Publix parking lot got into a verbal altercation over an ex-girlfriend. The argument quickly escalated, and it turned into a machete fight. They both had machetes. Not one, but two. Both were taken to a local hospital after sustaining non-life-threatening injuries. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Monday, August the 10th, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, offering great pay, offering overtime, benefits, the whole kit and caboodle. You know where to go. CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. I don't know if I've ever said kit and caboodle on the show before. Well, I got to make that bigger part of my vocabulary. I like that phrase.
I liked it. It sounded good coming from you. But what would be your strategy in a machete fight? I mean, what's your angle? You know, like you can't really. It's not a sword fight.
I'm more of a chopper than a swinger. I think I'm going for a hand and trying to take off some fingers. I think that's what I'm doing. You know, all I'm picturing right now is the Monty Python movie where the guy loses both arms and both legs. Get back here, get back in, fight me. Merely a flesh wound. All right, let's see. Today, what do we got in baseball? Not a lot of games today, but the Rays, see if they can continue their hot streak. They're out west.
The red hot Rays, baby.
Yep, taking on the Athletics. Peralta on the mound for the Rays. He didn't pitch that well in his first start. We'll see what happens today. Other games, the Red Sox trying to get back to their winning ways after losing 2 in a row. Pretty good because Sonny Gray's on the bump. They're playing the Blue Jays. Mets are at the Braves. Orioles and the Twins. Both teams still in the wild card race, so that's kind of an important series. Phillies and Cardinals. Those teams battling for the final wild card spot. Right now, the Phillies holding on. Cardinals, I believe, are the next closest team, or the Padres, then the Cardinals, sorry. The Rangers are taking on the Angels. Rangers trying to hold on to the wild card spot, the division, whatever it may be between the two. Rockies at Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks a playoff team right now. Brewers at Padres. Padres a big win last night. Padres trying to keep up in the wild card race as well. The Astros out west taking on the Giants. They have a slim lead in their division. And the Dodgers get a break. Kansas City comes to town. Scooble on the bump for the Dodgers tonight. They're minus 320.
Oh, that hurts. You had to twist the knife, Mark Miller. You had to.
I don't think it's a problem at all. I will say, I know you're a Tigers guy. They got Joe back, who had missed like a year and a half because of
he looked good.
Injuries and was popping it at over 100 and pitched 5 innings. So, their young pitching staff, if, again, they start with Cleveland tomorrow. If they get 2 or 3 from Cleveland, then I think you're right. Then I think they're a playoff team. If they only get 1, it's possible. If they do what they've done against Cleveland a lot, which is get their butts kicked, they're right back to where they started from. Because we thought they were, the Scooble trade to David and I happened because they blew that big lead in the game against the Athletics.
Yep, the season ended that day. Yep.
And that seemed to be like, okay, now Mize is gone, now Scooble's gone. Well, from that game on, they've played great. So,
yeah, they have.
But they've got a big series with Cleveland. I think I just think that's huge for them. The Yankees come back home starting tomorrow. They take on the Mariners. So they've got a little bit of room between them and the Red Sox. We'll see. But the Rays with this little run, another couple weeks by the Rays, can they put the Yankees in their rearview mirror? I don't know. I think the Rays have 2 late series with the Yankees and Red Sox. I still think the division will be within reach for one of them when we get towards the end of September. But the Rays, without doing a whole lot at the deadline, continue to figure out ways to win. The catcher they brought over from the Marlins has produced, which is terrific for them because not only was it a bad hitting spot for the Rays, it wasn't very good defensively. So I think that's been a very smart addition by the Rays. Tomorrow, I've got to be honest with you, I don't know what's on tap. I have no idea. I know there's no Pat Kerwin. I know I will get to work on it. As soon as this show ends, we're going to knock down the NFC East next. So whichever Giants, Cowboys, Washington Commander, or
Who's stepping
Philadelphia
up?
Eagle reporter gets back to me first, that's who we'll go with. And I'll get the week lined up tomorrow, but we'll have Pat Kerwin on the show Wednesday and Friday. Obviously, Seth, David Behrman's going to start joining us weekly this week on Wednesdays. So we're starting to line up our football season. We're getting closer and closer. Probably talk a little Tampa Bay Bucks too, maybe a little Bucks and Rays. I'll probably reach out to JP Peterson tomorrow and see if we can talk with him as well. Trent, you've made it through one show without getting fired. Let's see if you can make it through the whole week. You tried hard towards the end. I mean, you're pressing me. You're pushing my buttons, and you know it, which I give you credit for. So
yeah, well, we love doing the LeBron Jordan thing, but that's only for breaks. So, in all seriousness, Mark, it's been a blast. It's going to be a blast, so I appreciate it. But, hearts out to David Moulton.
Absolutely. Remember, Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night, the Bell Tower Shops at the DoubleTree Hotel. Sign up now, millerandmoulton.com. Millerandmoulton.com is the way to sign up for the Fantasy Football Summit tomorrow night. Miss any of the show, you can obviously download it anywhere you can download your podcasts, as well as Miller and Moulton. Trent, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Everybody else, have a great start to your week. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.
Moulton.com.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.